I'm Chris Verlod with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Miami Heat took home court advantage away from the Celtics last night with their 123-116 win in Boston. The Heat lost every quarter of the game except for the third quarter when they outscored the Celtics 46-25. Tonight is game 2 between the Nuggets and the Lakers. The Nuggets lead the Lakers 1-0 and will look to make it 2-0 when they go to Los Angeles this weekend. Sasha Vesnikov of Olympiacos and maybe soon to be Sacramento King has been named the 2022-23 EuroLeague MVP. Zenkov averaged 17.2 points per game to go along with 6.8 rebounds and 1.8 assists. For more on the EuroLeague MVP, check out Sactown Sports Kings insider Frank Cardicelli's article on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get to Chris and Co. with our hosts, Kyle Draper and Kayte Christensen.
What is happening? What is happening? It's your boy Drapes with Kayte Christensen here on Chris & Co. Sactown Sports 1140. First of all, Kayte, this is my first time seeing you since the final game of the season.
Yep, absolutely.
How are you doing? Have you decompressed? Have you shed all the tears that the season is over? How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm. You know what? I'm doing okay. I don't know if you can relate to this, but like, for about a week or so after a season ends, I feel like I've been hit by a bus. And the terrible thing about me is like, I start planning like 2 months before the season ends. I'm like, okay, here's all the projects I'm going to do. Here's the things I need to do. The things that we neglect in our house that we want to get done. Right. And then for about a week, there's like a self-loathing because I'm so tired and so exhausted and feel like a complete sloth. And I'm like, I just wasted a week. I could have done this. I could have done that. So, and I also have a little bit of a basketball boycott. Like,
what?
Yep. Like, I'll not watch it live, and then I'll go back and I'll watch it, like I record everything. And so that for me was like, I needed that, especially after losing in the playoffs. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, it's been tough for me, especially the second round, because I'm watching the Lakers play the Warriors, and I'm thinking, man, we should still be playing. We have a shot to beat either of those teams. And so I'm a little heartbroken that it's over, but I'm such a basketball junkie. I've watched every game.
Oh, I watch them too, but I won't watch them live.
You won't watch them live?
Nope. I'll be like the next morning when I'm having my coffee.
No rooting interest or anything like that or anything?
No, but what always intrigues me is I love watching the playoffs because you see more in the playoffs the coaching side of things and the game adjustments from not only in game, but game to game through a 7-game series. So to me, that's the mesmerizing thing about the playoffs is I think it highlights the coaching more than anything.
And I'm glad you brought that up because we're going to talk about that coming up in a minute. Miami Heat beat the Celtics last night to take a 1-0 lead in that best of 7 series. And you look at the coaches in that matchup. You got Eric Spoelstra, 15-year coach, came up through the ranks, and Joe Mazzulla, first-year coach.
Yep.
And I think Eric Spoelstra is probably one of the most underrated coaches. It's incredible to me. He hasn't won a Coach of the Year honor during his career. But as much as the players matter, I think coaching in the playoffs is so important.
It's critical.
More so than the regular season,
it's
right?
It's critical. Yeah. And it's not even just the X's and O's, right? It's about, like, you heard Jimmy Butler after the game and someone had said, looking back at the play-in and can you believe that you guys are here? He's like, absolutely. Right. We believed it. We don't care what you guys are saying. We know that Spo believes in us. And that's the point. That's right, what we're saying. Yeah. That's the point. Like, he is and coming from, Pat Riley, right? That's no surprise at all. It's so much more than just X's and O's and game planning and all of that. It's about how you make your team feel and the faith and confidence that you have in them that they feel, and it transfers to the floor. Like, there's nothing more important as a player than feeling like your coach believes in you.
Right.
At all.
Yeah. And that's one thing that you talk to the players and players around the league and assistant coaches around the league. Mike Brown, he inspires guys, whether you're the first guy or the 13th guy on the bench. Mike Brown inspires guys. So we'll talk about that. We'll obviously talk about the NBA draft lottery, which was this week. Victor Wembanyama. I don't know if I can release it, but I think Sacramento Kings fans will get a good look at him this summer. And so that's a little bit of a tease. Hopefully that comes out soon. So we'll be able to watch him. 916-339-1140. I want to stick with the Kings, though, in this offseason and this past season. 48 wins. And it's funny, you listen to Giannis say, it's not a failure. There are no failures in sports. Joel Embiid, you hear his post game, and he sounds like his season was a failure in terms of not advancing, even though he won an MVP. How do you view the Kings season? Because ultimately the goal is to win a championship, and that's something Mike Brown has talked about since day one. We're not here just to make the playoffs. But how do you view the season?
A wild success.
Yeah. Wow.
And the reason for that is the Kings are not the 76ers and they're not the Bucks, who have been in the playoffs, who have been, contenders on a legit level. Every team comes into the season, with the exception of a few, really thinking, okay, we can do this. We just need some things to go our way. But when you look at it realistically, we all, and if someone says otherwise, they're flat out lying to you. We all were hoping for a play-in opportunity, to peak at the right time, to be healthy, and to be able to earn a spot in the playoffs. But we thought it was probably going to come through the play-in. And the reason that is that's looking at the Western Conference realistically. Yeah. It's so brutal. And to be honest, the Kings got incredibly lucky this year with health.
Yes.
The lack of injuries that kept them out. Yep. There was plenty of injuries that guys played through. But when you look at, Steph Curry missed time, Andrew Wiggins was out with personal reasons. Like, you can go through the Western Conference, Chris Paul, you can go down every team, and they had significant injuries. Right. So that helped the Kings. So the fact that they ended the season as a number 3 seed in the Western Conference, home court advantage in the playoffs, and really, really battled it out with the defending champs in their first playoff experience in 17 seasons. There was so much good that came out of that experience. There's not a lot of guys on this roster that have been there, Kyle,
that had the taste of
and
the playoffs.
So I'm sitting here going no, they didn't advance to the second round. You always want more, but when you sit back and look at it, to me, it was a wild success.
I'm gonna push back on you just for this reason. Because I'm a firm believer that as you get in more information, we are allowed to amend our expectations. Absolutely. Okay. And so while we may have hoped for a play-in berth, once you win 48 games, once you wrap up the 3 seed, once you have a game 7 at home, you sort of amend, at least I did, my expectations. And here's the problem. I thought it was a great season, memorable season. But I don't know if this team reached its peak this season. I don't think it achieved, all that it could.
I think that's probably the case with about 29 teams every season, right? But, aside from everything I just said, executive of the year, coach of the year, 2 All-Stars, 2 All-NBA. We have 2 guys on this Kings roster that made an All-NBA team out of 15 total guys.
2 of the top 15.
Of the top 15.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, I look at it differently in that terms, and what I say and label as success. But as a player, there's no part of any of these guys, I guarantee you, that feel like they should be gone right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they all are like, and I think that's why it's a great litmus test. This is how players understand kind of where they can be. And this has been a culture of losing for so long. And one of the things for years, as I've been here since 2006, is there was so many seasons where you can say, these guys are okay losing. They're used to losing. Mm-hmm. There's not that fire underneath them where losing isn't, it's like they had become so used to it and accustomed to it. And so I think that this season more than anything, and a lot of it because of Mike Brown and his coaching staff, because he legitimately came in and said, I'm going to take a team that's been in the lottery for like a decade, and I'm going to make them believe that we have a chance to win the title. And by the end of the season, we had all amended things.
Right. Yeah. And I want to hear from the audience out there, 916-339-1140. How do you view this Sacramento Kings season? Katie says a wild success. I say successful, but I wanted more. You know, I wanted more. I expected more out of this team because I look at things like this, Katie. You can go on the road and beat Memphis during the regular season. You can go have all these big wins, beat the Clippers in that crazy game, but then lose against Charlotte, lose against,
That's part of the process, though.
But I feel like 48 wins versus, let's say, 53 is a big difference. Yeah. And so to me, and I bring this up. But
there's also those games, Kyle, where we can all legitimately say, if we're being honest, they had no business winning that game, but they did. So I kind of feel like those balance out a little bit, not maybe completely, but where you're like, oh, there's 5 games I can identify that we should have won. Well, I can probably say there was 3 that we had no business winning, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think for me, they could beat any team in the league. Mm-hmm. And they,
Philly was tough.
Philly was tough.
Philly was
Boston,
a tough one
those are, those are 2 tough matchups. But, I think this team's ceiling was higher than what it was, what it ended up being. Yep. And so to me, they fell just short of, and like you said, 29 other teams, probably Milwaukee can say that. Other teams can say that. Sixers, at their best, they probably can say that. And so for me, I expect a lot out of these guys. It was a great season. I'm sure, they feel good about the first step. But, man, I wanted more, Katie. I wanted more. We should still be playing. I would have loved to see this matchup against LeBron and Anthony Davis. And selfishly, because I hear all the chatter nationwide and outside, about the organization and the losing and all that, I wanted at least a first-round win to show that, you know what? We are a legit number 3 seed,
Yep.
And so I want to hear from you guys out there, 916-339-1140. You can call in, text us as well. You're listening to Chris and Co. with Drapes and Katie Christensen here on Sactown Sports 1140.
It's Cattles and Rami.
Portland ends up with the 3rd pick.
We'll give these cats to the Spurs.
So
give it to the Spurs.
It's either going to be the Spurs or the Hornets.
Come on, Charlotte.
The Hornets end up with the 2nd pick.
Man,
the San Antonio Spurs.
3rd time.
Land.
It's rigged, Nick.
Victor Wembanyama.
Nick is rigged.
They just want Pop to get his hands
on. It's rigged, man.
Cattles and Rami, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Sactown Sports.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Woodland. Chad, it's Jeep season. What's going on at Hoblet?
Right now, you can lease the amazing Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4x8 for only $399 a month for 36 months with $49.95 due at signing. This is easily one of the most popular Jeeps, and with deals this good, you better hurry in because they won't last long.
Anything else, Chad?
We also have 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4x8s available for lease for just $469 a month for 36 months and $39.95 due at signing. If you need to cart the family around, this Jeep is for you. Plus, you'll save tons on fuel costs, not to mention the Hoblet Peace of Mind guarantee, so you can buy with confidence.
See their full selection when you experience Hoblet's award-winning customer service at Hoblet Dodge in Woodland, or search, select, and save through their whole inventory at hobletdodge.com. Best prices, best selection, period.
$399 lease payment valid on select new 2023 Jeep Wrangler Sahara 4xEs for 36 months with $49.95 due at signing, plus applicable taxes and license fees. 10,000 miles per year limitation, 25 cents per mile overage charge. Or $69 lease payment valid on select new 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee Base 4xE for 39 months with $39.95 due at signing, plus applicable sales tax and license fees. 10,000 miles per year limitation, 25 cents per mile overage charge. Both leases on approved credit through Stellantis. Must be California resident. Not all applicants will qualify.
Live and local, it's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
My man Chris Rillard on the boards here on Sactown Sports 1140. Chris and Co. with Drapes and Kayte Christensen talking all things Sacramento Kings. We want to hear from you. 916-339-1140. Phone lines open right now. Any questions for Kayte about this season? What needs to happen for the Kings this offseason as we look ahead to next season as well? We're talking about the Kings and their ceiling last year. I thought they could have did better. I thought they could have advanced farther when it came to the playoffs. I'm looking at the chat line here on YouTube. Nelly47 says, it's easy to say at the end of the day, we wanted more. That's being greedy. So I guess I'm being greedy right now, Kayte. We were hoping for a play-in game at most. They got the 3rd seed and could have beat Golden State. Their time will come. They are freaking nice, he says. Manny says, a big success for us, not going to lie, being a 3rd seed, getting 48 wins, getting Golden State to Game 7 in our first playoff run after 17 years was huge. So thanks for weighing in, guys. With that being said, Kayte, if we're going to call it a success, what's the success next season?
Yeah.
48 wins in the first round exit isn't a success, right? I think now we're looking for the growth from this team. Where would you like to see that?
I think that if you can repeat the same things, like what you don't want to see is drop off.
Right,
and let's be honest, it's going to be incredibly challenging for them to do and repeat what they did last season, because at the end of the day, no matter what, they're in the Western Conference. When you look at teams like Golden State, like the Clippers, Phoenix, there's a lot of things up in the air right now because of some coaching changes and things like that.
Right.
And there was some massive shifts in the NBA at the trade deadline in terms of superstars changing locations, right? And so how does that impact the Western Conference? What's going to happen in Dallas? You've got Kyrie and you've got Luka there. Like that was a superstar change. And then you have them literally resting guys when they still have the ability to make it into the play.
Yeah, that's...
So, there's so many questions to me up in the air, but when you look at it, you want them to build on it. And I think one of the big question marks for me is, how is Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox going to follow up the roster that they built this season? One of the things to me that is intriguing, they have not been in this position for a very long time. My question, does this shift a little bit to where Sacramento might possibly be a more desirable free agent destination when you look at the style of play, the players that are on the roster that are core players, and De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray as a rookie. When you look at the roster, there's so many great pieces, and the style of play as a player is so much fun to play in. And so I'm sitting here going are we going to start to see a shift where Sacramento is not going to be battling for low-level free agents, overpaying, or are we going to be able to start legitimately building on this roster? And let's be honest, Harrison Barnes is a huge question mark. His contract expired. And no matter at the end of the day, Kyle, to me, we talked about it yesterday on the morning show, there's been a lot of unjustified kind of shade thrown Harrison's way.
Yes.
He was vital, critical to what this team did this year. And like any player, he struggled throughout periods of the season. He struggled in the playoffs. But no one has a work ethic like Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
And so is he going to return, or is it, you don't want to lose him for nothing? Would there be a sign and trade potentially? Those are the big things to me that, to circle it back around, is going to make me look at next season and be like, okay, we have to be in the same spot. You have to build on it to be there, because now you're not a surprise.
Right. And teams are going to know who you are coming in. They're going to know your style as well. And you mentioned free agents, and we have Austin White of the Portland Tribune to talk about the Portland Trailblazers coming up at the top of the hour, 11 o'clock. One of their free agents is Jeremy Grant.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned, is this now a free agent destination? I think this offseason will determine that. We saw Malik Monk come. That was a big-time signing.
Big time.
Our first big free agent, and I can't remember the last one to come to Sacramento. But now can Monty McNair back it up again with a guy like a Jeremy Grant or some of these other guys out there. You know, I even like a Thomas Bryant or somebody like that. I think Sacramento has become a free agent destination, not only because of the city and the fan base, but the style of play. You look at the players on this team and how much fun they had this season. You know, the system, pushing the ball, shooting threes. You listen to Mike Brown in a press conference saying, just let it fly. To me as a player, that signals to me like
we're not going to take any from anyone.
Yeah,
you know, like those types
exactly.
of things matter.
Exactly. And so I think this offseason will tell us, is Sacramento a free agent destination? But you mentioned it. Free agents usually want to play with other good players or other great players. We now have 2 of the top 15 based on all NBA standards. You know, Domantas Sabonis, a passing big man who I think makes other people around him better. De'Aaron Fox, a clutch player who, you know, to me hasn't even peaked yet. You know, and he still has a lot of room to grow. So I do think it'll be a free agent destination. What are we looking for in free agency? What position, though? That's the question. Because if you bring back HB, I don't know how much, you know, wing help you need as, you know, maybe so it's just a big man.
That's
right?
the question, right? That's the question. What Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox decide to do with Harrison Barnes really is
that the first thing?
It's the first thing. That's the puzzle piece. And then you also look at, you know, Terrence Davis, you look at Trey Lyles. I think Trey Lyles was so critical to the success of this team this year. Terrence Davis, I absolutely love his game. And when he had opportunities, I felt that he showed out in his own way. He had that big game on November 15th against the Nets on TNT, and he had some really important moments. Played well, spot minutes in the playoffs, but I don't know that TD is going to be back next season because he's so far down on the kind of depth chart now. That's a position that we're super deep in, but that 3 spot. When you look at some things that were exposed throughout the season, defensively, this team has to find a way to get better. And whether that's bringing in a big, you mentioned Thomas Bryant, who I like his game a lot. And then you look at kind of that 3-and-D spot, right? Like Harrison is a capable defender and he's versatile. But it doesn't mean that you can't improve. If that's the spot that really, you know, answers the question to me. And it's difficult because I love HB. I'm not saying I want him to go anywhere. But that's the first kind of domino that needs to fall, is to see what they decide.
You know, I always looked at HB. You talked about his professionalism, you know, his leadership. He was always the grown-up in the room, sort of, you know, the guy that would settle things down, calm everybody down just by his demeanor, he never got too high, never got too low. Do you need that kind of presence in the locker room? And so if you lose, you know, forget about the 15 points and all that, you know, and I think that's what frustrates people. They want him to be something, you know. He's only been one season in his career, that 1 year in Dallas where he, you know, had, you know, close to a 20-point per game season. They want him to be one thing instead of appreciating what he actually is.
So Harrison Barnes, when he came here from Dallas, I mean, when he went to Dallas from Golden State, he was there to be the guy, right? And then he came to Sacramento when he was traded. And he was such a vital piece of the puzzle at that time, focused on rebuilding. And that's why no matter what happens with HB, I'm always going to look at him and be like, he was so valuable to this team beyond what we can measure in statistics or whatnot, because he came to a team that had a losing culture and gradually over time helped them build it through his own gameplay, his professionalism in the locker room, his example that he sets in terms of travel, eating, diet, workouts, recovery. All of those things are so important for a team that is in the doldrums of the NBA to learn how you literally pull yourself out of it.
Let me throw this at you, and it just hit me. And I may be wrong, but Harrison Barnes, when the team was struggling, I think shielded De'Aaron Fox. Because when you look at it, and I've only been here 3 years, my first 2 seasons, who was the first guy to meet with the media after every game. Like it felt like every game, Harrison Barnes was that guy taking those lumps, taking those barbs from the media.
He's been sat in front of that microphone when this team, had bad losses and struggled so many times. Like the percentage of the times it was Harrison Barnes is so incredibly high. You're right.
And that's what I mean. Usually when you have a star player or a franchise player, everybody wants to hear from him. Where's De'Aaron? And trust me, we wanted to hear from De'Aaron. But every night, win, lose, or draw, Harrison Barnes was out there. And I think that sort of shielded De'Aaron a little bit. Now, Fox, when you're winning, things are great.
I wanted to put this out there. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I also want to give credit to the media and the PR side of this team, because they made a change in the offseason.
Yes.
And they did a really good job of managing players. And it's kind of like we always talk about Raymond Ritter in Golden State, who is like the shining star of the NBA PR media relations world when it comes to handling teams, getting his guys out there and making them available. And I think that also is kind of a shift in the sense that, I don't want to say De'Aaron was only out there this year because they were winning. I also think it's, I think there was a shift in terms of how things are managed and the mentality and the expectations. And I thought that they did a good job. It was a different working environment for you and I in that respect.
No doubt about it. And I want to hear from you guys, because we're going to continue to talk Sacramento Kings basketball. What are the team's priorities this offseason? Who are some of the free agents you want to bring in? We'll take your calls, 916-339-1140. You're listening to Chris and Co. with Drapes and Katie Christensen here on Sactown Sports 1140.
The Kings season might be over, but Sactown sports coverage never stops.
Expectations coming into the season and how we performed. I mean, it's one of the more special seasons that I've had in my 11 years.
Stay tuned all off season to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
Pain is not normal. Repeat, pain is not normal. Greetings, Sacramento. Doug Christie here with the Good Feet Store. Does this sound familiar? It's the end of the workday, and the pain in your feet, knees, hips, or back is unrelenting. Good Feet understands that you've likely already tried assorted remedies and solutions with no relief. And now you're pretty much resigned to living with the pain. But do not give in to the pain. Instead, come to the Good Feet store for their end-to-end 3-step arch support system. Good Feet is the nation's largest manufacturer and retailer of personalized arch supports. With arch supports in over 300 sizes, styles, and flexibilities, and an arch support specialist in each store. Come in today for a free, no-obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk around the store or around the center. Experience the comfort, balance, and support possible with the Good Feet system. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now in Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Hey, movie fans, the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento is now serving adult beverages. Rev your engines for Fast X, the IMAX experience, playing this week.
That's going to break your family. Piece by piece. You will never be able to break my family.
The Fast X family is back on the largest screen in Sacramento. Getting tickets is easy. Visit IMAX.com/Sacramento for reserved seating. Plus, join the free IMAX Directors Club to receive special member pricing on tickets and concession purchases each time you visit the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
For a business to thrive, there needs to be a constant stream of new customers. This happens through strong lead generation. Did you know that lead generation is one of the most important tools of any marketing campaign? Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products and services to them. To get started today, contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results today.
I'm Tumani. When I was younger, I may have did some stupid things. I committed some crimes, I even got shot, but I'm not a criminal.
That's right. I'm Jamal. I work for youth advocate programs. Yeah, I was Tumani's advocate, helping him stay out of jail, stay in the neighborhood, and get a job, and work hard to see a better future for himself. If you have a change of mindset, you can have a change of action.
As a little kid, I experienced trauma and I acted out. Made some mistakes, but I'm not a mistake.
No, she's a good student and a great kid. As Jalen's YAP advocate, I'm always here for her. With the youth advocate programs, I was able to connect with Jalen.
YAP is a community-based alternative to youth incarceration, congregate placement, and neighborhood violence. After completing our program, 86% of participants were arrest-free. YAP works.
And now I'm a YAP advocate, helping kids like me find a better way.
Youth advocate programs. Others talk social change. We make it happen. Learn how at yapinc.org.
Sactown Sports
Headlines. I'm Chris Verlotta with your Sactown Sports Headlines. The Miami Heat took home court advantage away from the Celtics last night with a 123-116 win in Boston. The Heat lost every quarter of the game except for the third quarter when they outscored the Celtics 46-25. Tonight is game 2 between the Nuggets and the Lakers. The Nuggets lead the Lakers 1-0 and will look to try and make it 2-0. They go to Los Angeles this weekend. Sasha Vesnikov of the Olympiacos and maybe soon to be Sacramento King has been named the 2022-23 EuroLeague MVP. Vezenkov averaged 17.2 points per game to go along with 6.8 rebounds and 1.8 assists. For more on the EuroLeague MVP, check out Sactown Sports Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's article on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Chris and Co. with Kyle and Kayte.
Sitting at your desk, watch Chris and Company now. YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Back here on Sactown Sports 1140, Drapes and Kayte Christensen here with you till 2 o'clock, taking you up to Cattles and Rami. Is Rami back today? Rami is back. Rami is back. Okay, just making sure. We continue to talk Sacramento Kings. I want to hear from you, 916-339-1140. I want to get into some of the team's priorities, and we've talked about this in the past, and here it is. We got the draft coming up, pick number 24, free agency after that. And if I'm Monty McNair, and you mentioned it, Katie, the first thing is Harrison Barnes, deciding what you're going to do with Harrison Barnes. You know, I see in the chat line here on YouTube, a lot of people are saying HB maybe comes off the bench. Do you see that as a possibility for Harrison Barnes at this stage?
Okay, so let me just talk this out.
Talk it out for me.
So if Harrison Barnes comes off the bench, who starts in that position?
Why are you asking tough questions? That's not, I mean, you know. I
you
agree.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like who starts in that position?
Because if you re-sign Harrison, I don't think you have the money to go out there and get a starting caliber wingman.
I don't think that. What was HB making this year? 28?
18. He was making 18.
So he had the declining contract.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we were just in the break looking up Dame Lillard's contract.
Yeah.
And it's those big contracts where I'm like, gosh, that is just a brilliant thing to do it that way instead of increasing it every year as they get older. And then you've got, a 35-year-old player making $49 million.
Who's like 38, about to make $47 million.
And so it's like, God, it's brutal. But anyway, I mean, that's my question. If Harrison Barnes doesn't start, if he comes off the bench, who do you start in that position? Go.
Do you move Malik into the starting lineup?
Nope.
Do you Sasha Vezenkov?
So that's the question. As soon as we find out, as soon as we find out what's going on. So that's what makes the offseason so interesting, right? There's so many what ifs. And you just have to be patient, wait for it all to kind of fall into place. I think it's very telling that, Mike Brown was over there immediately after the season ended, watching games in Greece. And we've seen it in the past with, players coming over after they're already technically, their rights are owned by an NBA team. They opt to stay over. There's a lot of value in that. The last one for us was Bogdan Bogdanovic, and he waited basically for his rookie contract or his rookie period, that 3-year period or whatever it was, to be over so that he could actually sign a real contract. And he stayed overseas. He played. He also was a MVP. Am I not mistaken? Bogdan Bogdanovic. Chris, do you remember? He was the MVP, right?
I think
of the Greek League. Yeah.
The Greek League.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be really interesting to see. And I'm not going to lie. I have not seen his game. Like I can't speak on it with with my own personal eyes have not, gone through a lot of tape on him.
You haven't deep dived on the film yet?
I haven't deep dived into Olympiacos, game film. But I have so much faith in this front office.
Wow.
Which it's like we have not really
been
able to say that
right.
for a while. They've methodically made incremental moves that have paid off. I mean, really incredible incremental moves. And that's been the toughest thing for a general manager coming into Sacramento over the last, decade and a half, is that they come in and they want to do the big things because they want to immediately turn it around. Yes. And it doesn't work
Get rid of all the draft picks or
Dwayne
something.
Dedmon is one to me that I still am like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we've had older stars that are towards the end of their careers, that those are our free agent signings, like Vince Carter, Iman Shumpert, Trevor Ariza. Like, let's just go down the list of the big splashy moves that have been made. And they've made incremental moves over the last couple years that, and being able to land Kevin Huerter was part of that. And, you look at the trade deadlines and how he's managed it and what he's gotten out of all those. I'm curious to see what happens.
I'm looking at the chat line and there's some beefing going on right there. Can't we just all get along, Katie? The guys are beefing with each other on the chat
really?
line. Right?
Y'all beefing? What are you beefing? What are you beefing over?
I don't know. I'll just read this one thing. Willie said, "You read what I said." And so, and Dwayne says, "What have I done that is spectacular?" Like, it's getting personal in the chat line, but this is the passion of the Kings fans we got right now. I think the biggest priority, our lack of size was exposed.
It was
in the postseason.
It was.
And we need a serviceable big man behind Domantas Sabonis. I still have Sabonis as my 5. I can't see Domantas playing the 4 spot. And so who's that big man that can come in, battle with the loonies, block some shots as well? Right. You looked at Steph Curry in that Lakers series. Anthony Davis changed a lot of shots or blocked a lot of shots. Because we didn't have that rim protector or somebody that can alter shots, Steph was able to turn the corner and get his little float game going or finish, layups.
Can we discuss that? Because
let's talk.
I know that this is something, and I'm not saying it's not accurate, but we talk a lot about stuff like this, especially near trade deadlines. Mm-hmm. We need this, we need that, we need that rim protector. Everybody wants a rim protector. Name the ones in this league.
Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid. You could go to Boston, Robert Williams, and so.
Okay, so there's 3.
I gave you 3. Cleveland, we know, has them,
Jared Allen,
they got him, DeAndre Ayton is not a rim protector.
Do you consider Rudy Gobert a rim protector in Minnesota? So there's 5.
Yes, I do. Okay. I do. And we can play this game, Katie. I could pull out the list now.
But that's the thing. Not even every single team in this league has a starting big that is a rim protector. So it's not like you just go to the supermarket and say, I'm gonna go to the rim protecting aisle. Right. I'm gonna pick that up right now, and we're gonna check that off the list. So if you don't have that, what else, Kyle, do you need?
Better perimeter defense, right? I would say.
Do you think that's easier to find than backup rim protectors that are really going to come in and in their maybe 15 minutes a game have that big of an impact? Because if you're having it as the backup center for Domantas Sabonis, who's going to play 35 minutes a night, he's going to
play a lot.
Then I don't think having that backup rim protector is going to make as big of an impact as having better perimeter defenders that are starting, right?
Twofold on that. Because I also think rim protection and rebounding as well. Yeah. And so you can have the better perimeter defenders, but how do you address the rebounding? And I'm looking for one guy that can do it all.
Domantas Sabonis he led the league in rebounding this year. Most total, most per game. He was phenomenal.
Yes.
I think we're all still traumatized from what Kevon Looney did in the first round of the playoffs. And he did it to everybody. So that's the interesting thing about that. Yes, rebounding. So Domas rebounds the heck out of the ball, but Keegan Murray has to do it more consistently. And guess what? He's going to, because we saw him do it throughout the season. We saw at the trade deadline when Mike Brown said, hey, if you're not knocking down shots, what do you do for us?
What do you do?
What do you
Rebound.
do for us?
Yeah.
And what did he start doing? He started getting 8 or 10 rebounds a game.
Right.
Like he's going to make massive strides, I think, in the offseason.
Right.
Because of his personality, his skill level, his ability, and his potential. And you put that all together with his work ethic, and there's going to be major strides made. We saw it throughout the season. And this is a rookie that is starting on a playoff team and maybe our fourth option, and still able to show growth and add pieces to his game in that process. But to me, I think, again, it comes down to, Kevin Huerter wasn't the best defender, but he wasn't the worst defender either. He was second on the team in deflections. He does a good job in kind of the backside help defense. It really comes down to, you need somebody that is so versatile as an on-ball defender that has size and can rebound. And Davion Mitchell is amazing. He's amazing, but he doesn't have size.
He doesn't have size. But it sounds like we're looking for a unicorn, somebody that could defend, rebound, and knock down shots too.
That exists.
A 3-and-D guy, like a really, really high level.
And it doesn't even have to be like high volume shots.
Right.
Just open ones.
Shots.
Because guess what? You're going to have plenty of open looks on this team.
Well, who's out there that fits that bill? That's the question.
That's why we do this, and Monty and Wes do that.
Exactly. All right, we got much more Kings talk coming up in just a little bit. We're also going to talk NBA draft lottery. Victor Wembanyama, they're calling this guy the next great thing. Might as well pencil in the Spurs for a championship run. We're going to discuss that as well. Hit us up, 916-339-1140. You're listening to Chris and Co. with Drapes and Kayte Christensen here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
M&S Auto Sales is grateful for their many repeat customers. Ask one, and they might say they come back because it's the best car buying experience. Others come back to get the vehicle they want and save a ton of cash on a clean, late model, top-selling vehicle that they can be proud to own. The team at M&S Auto welcomes you, including first-time buyers. El Camino Avenue, just off the Cap City Freeway. MSAutogroup.com.
Bartley Kavanaugh Golf Course is Sacramento's #1 course for fun. Players love Bartley Kavanaugh's fun design and great mixture of holes. Near the banks of the Sacramento River, Bartley Kavanaugh's moderately sized greens and generous fairway landing areas make for an affordable and fun round of golf. Bartley Kavanaugh offers a great pro shop, help planning your tournament or wedding, and a relaxing outdoor veranda for a cold beverage or a tasty meal. For tea times, visit BartleyKavanaugh.com. It's Sacramento's #1 course for fun.
Family-owned Clark & Rush, celebrating 60 years of serving Sacramento. It's time to convert your gas water heater and furnace to electric. Just turn to the experts at Clark & Rush and Carrier. We electrify more homes than any other contractor in Sacramento. Plus, we'll help you get up to $6,500 in utility rebates. We'll even do the paperwork. Call or visit clark-rush.com.
Smart energy savings is what we do. Clark and Rush.
Call 916-245-2829.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street. Right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com. Your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda. Yeah. Your one-stop Honda shop.
Keeping you company with the company. It's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Drapes and Kayte Christensen here with you on Sactown Sports 1140, 916-339-1140. Coming up at the top of the hour, we got Austin White, beat reporter of the Portland Trail Blazers for the Portland Tribune. They got some decisions to make. The #3 overall pick coming up. What are they going to do with Dame Lillard? What about their free agents? Jeremy Grant. Might he be coming to Sacramento? Could Monty McNair have some interest in him? But, Kayte, I want to get to the NBA draft lottery because I was watching it live as it happened. And Greg Popovich, man, I tell you, that San Antonio Spurs organization, to get the #1 pick in a year they so desperately needed, the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, I guess we can call it. So the Spurs get #1, Charlotte 2, in Portland 3, in Houston 4. What do you make of Victor Wembanyama? Have you watched any clips? Is he really that guy that can overnight change a franchise?
I don't think he's the guy that overnight changes the franchise. And one of the reasons why is it is way more difficult for a big to come into this league that young at 19 and have that kind of an impact that isn't built like LeBron James, right? And he's tall, immensely skilled. I mean, 7'5", but he also is the size of my calf, you know, like he's so I won't even say underdeveloped. He's just undeveloped. He's 19 and he's 7'5". It's like, you know, I like gardening, right? And it's like your tomato plants. I'm always trying to figure out how to make them fruit better, right? Well, you have to cut the shoots from the bottom, right? Or else it spends so much energy growing the leaves that it's not growing the fruit. Like he's got to cut his shoots. You know what I mean? Like he has not developed yet, and he's not going to. He's so skilled, but he's going to be a much different player at 22 than he is at 19. And I think it's harder for bigs to come in and deal with grown men and the strength and the commitment that these players put into their body and their craft. So, but when you look at the skill set that they have of the players, the young players, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, they have a lot of great young players, but they're young lottery picks.
Yes.
It takes time to develop. So I think the Spurs are going to be better, obviously. They've got young talent. I think they're going to be inconsistent, but they are being coached by one of the greatest coaches of all time. I think that helps speed up the process, right? But at the end of the day, this team 5 years from now is going to be a nightmare, but I don't think they're going to be a nightmare next season.
I agree with you. And I also look at the point guard spot for San Antonio. You need somebody to really stir the drink, to get everybody on the same page. With that being said, when you look at the markets that Wembanyama could have gone to, San Antonio, I believe, is the smallest media market in the entire NBA. Do you think he was happy? Do you think he was overjoyed to go to San Antonio?
I think because of the ties to Tony Parker, I
Parker
think there was
and the
probably some
history
great,
of- yeah.
great comfort in that.
Right.
And yes, the Spurs are a small media market, but the Spurs are also an international brand because of the success that they had during the Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili kind of phase of things. Because all three of those players were foreign. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
All three of those players were foreign. So I think their international brand is much bigger than people, kind of realize.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Spurs' future draft picks. They got 2 first-rounders next year, 2024. In 2025, they also have 3 first-round picks, excuse me. And so they have a treasure trove of draft picks. Might they challenge for a potential play-in spot next season? Because I'm bringing this back to Sacramento and the way the West looks. Minnesota's going to be in the mix. New Orleans going to be in the mix again. Now does San Antonio become a threat to steal one of those playoff spots?
You never can rule it out, but my gut, my kind of looking at the whole scope of things is a no. Just because, and this is not a knock on the talent they have. It is a just cluster in the Western Conference. I mean, I saw this thing, like you've got Brandon Ingram, who is doing 2-a-days right now in New Orleans. Their season is over.
Right.
They're not going to be back in training camp until October. He's doing 2-a-days right now. They underachieved. They had injuries. They had all of these issues that, that factors into things. So you look at Dallas, you look at the teams that did not make it this year, and tell me, do you not expect them to be contenders next year for a playoff spot? There's like legitimately 12 teams, 10 teams that you can say, ooh, they're probably going to be a playoff team next year.
Yeah, and usually
there's 8 spots.
There are teams too that you expect to fall off. I'm looking at it.
I don't see a fall off.
I don't see a fall off out of anybody.
The big question, obviously, to me is Portland.
Yes.
That's the big question. And they came out of the gates this year gangbusters, right? And they had a fall off. They had injuries. They had all these things. And Dame Lillard carried this young team. And they were contending for a play-in position. And then it got to the point they crumbled after the All-Star break. And it started with their game against the Kings.
Yes.
It started with their game here in Sacramento against the Kings, and it just fell to pieces for them.
And so my question is it time to move on from Dame Lillard? And we got Austin White coming up at the top of the hour of the Portland Tribune. But when you look at what the Blazers have, the young core, young talent that they have, Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, you got the number 3 overall pick. Maybe it's Scoot. That you can run at the point guard spot. And so does Dame Lillard, is it time for the Blazers to consider moving Damian Lillard?
That is the major
question.
That's
the big question, right?
And so here's the interesting thing about it. This is a player that's set to make about $47.5 million next season. And he has made it very clear that he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild anymore. He wants to win. Make some moves to win. Does that mean you trade the 3rd pick in the draft and you get an established player? And is it really just an established player away from them being a playoff team? I don't necessarily think so.
Yeah.
So they have some big, big questions that they have to address. And I'll say this. I think for Dame's sake, he's been incredibly loyal.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to be loyal to what you want to accomplish in the rest of your career.
Yeah.
Because your time is dwindling.
Yeah, and Dame Lillard, he's been active on social media the last few days. He tweeted this out. I believe this was earlier today. Somebody, Alexa Cooper, said, what's going on with these fans? They're trying to trade Dame Lillard, talking about him. You think we suffered this long to go out like that? Dame quote tweeted it and said, if the fans want to trade me, start the petition and send it in, with his arms up emoji. He said, somebody answered back, you want to leave, but trying to get the fans to push you out. He said, I've been on the same team over a decade. I'm just saying, if the people got different wishes, then the arms up emoji as well, the shrug emoji.
He has been more loyal to that team than he probably should have been. I'll say that. So fans can say what they want to say. They could say, oh, he's trying to make it look like the fans are forcing him out. No, I'm not buying that. He has been overly loyal to that team.
I agree. And we'll talk to Austin White of the Portland Tribune about Dame's future in Portland. And what about Jeremy Grant? He's a free agent. What could he bring to Sacramento? We got Austin White coming up on the other side. You're listening to Sactown Sports, 1140. Drapes, Kayte Christensen here on this, what's today? Thursday. Yes. You know, during the offseason, it's like, you know what? Every day is the same in the offseason. All right, we'll be back after this timeout.
Are you ready to hear this on Sactown Sports?
Hand off McCaffrey. Touchdown! San Francisco!
Or how about this?
Feel super, baby! The five-time Super Bowl champions, and they're looking for number 6.
Catch every Niners game during the 2023 season
On your home for the 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton and Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton and Price in your corner. When you call Ashton and Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real live person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates. It's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram and Woodland. Hey, it's Ram season, Chad. What's going on up at Hoblet?
Right now, save up to $11,000 off MSRP on new 2023 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cabs. That's real savings off one of America's most comfortable and popular Ram trucks. No surprise add-ons or dealer markups, just pure savings you won't find anywhere else.
Well, what about heavy duties?
We have Northern California's largest selection of heavy-duty Ram trucks with savings up to $6,000 off MSRP on new 2022 Ram 2500 Bighorn Crew Cabs. Again, no surprise fees, add-ons, or dealer markups, just savings. Just one of the reasons why we've received the Walter P. Chrysler Award for outstanding customer service for 3 years in a row. Plus, with Hoblet's Peace of Mind guarantee, you can buy with confidence.
Search, select, and save through their full inventory at HobletDodge.com or experience their award-winning customer service with a test drive at the Hoblet Ram Truck Center. Best prices, best selection, period.
11,000 total net savings after 7128 factory rebates and 3872 dealer discounts. Rebates include 10% off MSRP retail bonus cash based on 10% of MSRP. 5 of this net savings sample VIN 558887. 6,000 total net savings after 4,500 factory rebates and 1,500 dealer discounts. Rebates include $2,000 2022 Ram diesel engine bonus cash and $500 on-the-job commercial outfit. Must show $500 in eligible uplift equipment. More than 5 of each net savings.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
When you're ready to get properly fitted for golf clubs, join the thousands of Northern California golfers who visited the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio. Players of all abilities found the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio offers answers to questions about golf club fitting. You'll find a professional staff of fitters, major equipment brands, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan. See for yourself at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Call 916-808-2531 to schedule your fitting. 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
Carrie, is this schedule the most updated?
There's a wedding season rush at Dr. Iona's dental practice.
We're fully booked this week. We can try and squeeze you in next Tuesday.
She needs a dental hygienist to unveil fresh smiles.
How long has 3 been under the UV light?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
There's a right way and a wrong way to fight off mosquitoes. Karate chopping the air in a public place in front of your kids and their friends, Mom, is the wrong way. Using Stem mosquito repellent is the right way. Stem effectively repels mosquitoes by harnessing active ingredients found in plants like lemongrass and peppermint, making it safe for use as directed around people and pets. Stem, rooted in nature, optimized by science, and embarrassment-free.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources today. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Should we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines. I'm Chris Rillard with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Miami Heat took home court advantage away from the Celtics last night with a 123-116 win in Boston. The Heat lost every quarter of the game except for the third quarter when they outscored the Celtics 46-25. Sasha Vesnikov of the Olympiacos and maybe soon to be Sacramento King has been named the 2022-23 EuroLeague MVP. The Zankov averaged 17.2 points per game to go along with 6.8 rebounds and 1.8 assists. For more on the EuroLeague MVP, check out Sactown Sports Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's article on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Chris and Co. with Kyle and Katie, and our guest Austin White of the Portland Tribune.
Live and local, it's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Back here, second hour here on Sactown Sports 1140 Chris and Co. show with Drapes and Kayte Christensen here with you. Continuing to talk NBA basketball. We just had the NBA draft lottery. And fortunately, for the first time in how long, Kayte? The Sacramento Kings, we were able to just chill, watch, not even pay attention to the draft.
Matter. Just another day on the calendar.
Just another day on the calendar. The Kings will have the number 24 overall pick, the number 1 pick going to the San Antonio Spurs, number 2 to Charlotte, and number 3 to the Portland Trailblazers. And I think that's where the draft gets really interesting. To talk more about the draft lottery, the NBA draft, the future of Dame Lillard in Portland. Let's welcome in Austin White, beat reporter for the Blazers of the Portland Tribune. What's up, Austin? How you doing today, man?
Not much. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm looking at this Portland Trailblazers team, this roster, and, selfishly here in Sac, I'm saying, who can we pluck off the roster? Who can we get? Who's a Blazer that we can go out there and get? Before we talk about Jeremy Grant, what's the mood, the vibe in Portland after landing the number 3 overall pick?
It's an interesting one. There's kind of a small vocal minority that's saying, hey, this is the time to move on from Dame. Let's trade him. Use this number 3 pick on a guy like Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller and build around them. But, it's interesting today, too. Dame's kind of hearing it. Dame tweeted out, let me see what quote him here. If the fans want to trade me, start the petition and send it in. So it's an interesting vibe right now. But the minority, I'm not sure if trading Dame is the way this team wants to go.
So do you get a vibe from the organization, Austin, in terms of it almost feels from the outside looking in like Dame has been very vocal about claiming he really doesn't want to be part of another rebuild. Do you get the vibe that the organization has pressure from him?
I don't know if it's pressure, but, I think they're definitely on the same page as kind of what I'm hearing. They want to do this for Dame just as badly as he wants to do this for Portland, right? They want to do right by the guy who's been so loyal, who's going to have his jersey retired someday, probably a statue outside if it goes the right way. But this feels mutual to me at this point. They're both sides really trying to find a way to pull this off.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of what happened with the Boston Bruins years ago. I'm drawing a blank on the player's name right now. A veteran that had been there forever. They send him out to Colorado. He wins his championship. Everybody's excited for him. And it's sort of like that, I feel like, with the Blazers. If they do decide to trade him, do you think it would be to a contender or somebody, a place he can actually win, and not necessarily a place that has young talent and draft picks that's sort of also in a rebuild?
Yeah, that's the tough balance. It's, the Blazers got to do what's best for them, and trading into a young team would probably provide them more prospects. But at the same time, you want to do right by the guy who's, put your team on the map the last 11 years. So I don't know. I feel like, general manager Joe Cronin, he's always, his buzz terms, things he's always talking about are value, assessing the value of this number 3 pick. That leads me to believe that Portland would want to do kind of what's best in their interest moving forward. But, a trade seems pretty unlikely at this point of Dame. But, we got a month until the draft to see what happens.
I see. And this is what is so intriguing to me about this situation, because if you're looking at it from the outside, right, I think it's very, very clear. A lot of people look at it as like, okay, they've got a lot of young talent. Dame is a phenomenal player, but he's 32, about to be 33. And you've got the number 3 pick in a draft where you allegedly are going to be able to draft a difference maker at that position. So from the outside looking in, it seems clear that, okay, maybe this is the time. As grateful as you are to Dame and what he has done and the type of player and the loyalty he's had to Portland, maybe this is the time. But I think the loyalty it appears that he has had is what's making this decision difficult for them.
Right. And, that it goes back to the value too. They do have all this kind of young talent, got the number 3 pick. That could be seen as Portland's chance to use that to actually finally put some difference makers around Dame. They finally got one in Jeremy Grant last year who played very well, probably one of his best offensive seasons. It's like, okay, so now can Portland take that next step? They've got the 3 pick, they've got 23 from New York, they've got Anthony Simons and Shaedon Sharpe, 2 young talents who kind of really don't make sense to be playing next to each other. Is there a package somewhere in, one of those players, those 2 first-round picks? Is there a package in there that, can land a veteran difference maker? Because that's been the issue too. Is there are all these young guys, all these talents, but there's just no proven winners, no guys who know how to win daily in the NBA. So there's a lot of options, a lot of avenues this offseason can go.
Austin, a lot of options. But Katie mentioned Dame's 32. Are you really trading young talent picks and whatever to bring in somebody for maybe a 2 or 3 year run? And I know they're desperate to win, and I know they're desperate to surround Dame with some talent and give him a chance to play on the big stage and win. But if I'm the Blazers organization, I want to set up for sustained success. I'm not talking 2 or 3 years. I'm talking a decade-long run. And, the Warriors are going down. The Bucks are going down. Denver's still there. But who's that next team? And if I'm Portland, I'm positioning myself to be that next dynasty, that next team that can make several deep runs. And so I think Scoot Henderson at number 3 is going to be the pick. I think Brandon Miller will go to number 2 to Charlotte. So if you're going to have select Scoot, I think maybe you move off Dame, get a treasure trove of picks and young talent, and then trying to bring those guys, sort of like the Celtics did back in 2013 with the KG and Paul Pierce trade. That ultimately landed them Tatum, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and, their young core, and now you see the Celtics. Austin, I see the Blazers doing something like that. How would the fan base react to that, though, a trade of a guy like Dame Lillard?
I don't think they'd like it. I'm going to be honest with you. The thing is, Dame is 32, obviously not getting any younger, but dude just had his best career, season of his career.
Yep.
I think the Blazers believe Dame at 32, going to be 33, can still have a window like that for the next 5 years. They gave him a contract extension last offseason to, I believe now, if you count this last season, but I think it's 5 more years he's under contract. And those 2 years on that extension, I believe they're both, around $60 million a year.
Massive,
Absolutely, massive amounts of money. Portland really believes that Dame can, still be Dame that we've come to know for the next 5 years. So I think Portland, they don't see a window closing here at all. And I think that's why, the first move I would expect is a trade at somewhere of these picks and not of Dame.
I got to ask you, Austin, about Jeremy Grant, because he's an unrestricted free agent this year, 28-year-old. I mean, he averaged over 20 a game this year, shot 40% from long range, just had a phenomenal season for you guys, obviously coming out of Detroit a year ago. So is this a priority for the Blazers to try and re-sign him, or do you think there's a possibility that he might end up somewhere else?
Oh yeah, he's the number one priority for Portland, and it feels, even before the season ended, it feels like a deal is going to happen. They just kind of work out the numbers. It was funny in the exit interviews. He was asked about re-signing with Portland, and Jeremy said something about a 5-year contract, which instead of a 4-year. So kind of indicating that he too is kind of looking to come back.
Right.
He's really enjoyed Dame. They've met playing Team USA basketball together. This seems like a partnership that I would imagine gets done here at some point in the offseason. It doesn't feel like Portland is going to allow him to go anyway.
So Kyle, just mark it off your list.
No,
just take it off your wish list.
I don't know Austin that well, but we might not be able to invite him back because he's dashing the dreams of a lot of Sacramento Kings fans, because I think some people are looking at Jeremy Grant as a perfect fit here in Sacramento, especially if you don't bring back Harrison Barnes. What did Jeremy give that team? Because I think the Kings need some wing defenders. Can Jeremy be a solid wing defender? I know the numbers didn't indicate that he was last season. Is that on Jeremy? Is that on the team? What do you think?
Jeremy's a stud defender. I mean, I think that's more on the team. That's why Portland brought him in, because they're in the same spot as Sacramento. They need that wing defender. The offense was just a little bit kind of a plus, but yeah, Portland needs that wing defender. He was fantastic. Just brought lots of energy. A guy that some of their other young forwards can hopefully learn from and kind of see how he plays. Obviously you can't teach his length and whatnot, but the common thing from Dame last season was saying that Jeremy Grant was built in a lab just because of how he's physically made up. Like he's a difference maker. And, even take it back to the 1 year he was in Denver. That's before this season, that was the last time they went to the Western Conference Finals. And there's a reason, because he provided that Denver team with the defense they didn't have. So, yeah, I mean, it might be wishful thinking for Sacramento, but Jeremy Grant would be huge for Sacramento. He could change a lot of things there.
Austin White, beat reporter for the Portland Tribune of the Portland Trail Blazers. Thanks so much, Austin. Thanks for jumping on with us. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on anytime.
All right, see you during the season. That's Austin White, beat reporter of the Portland Trail Blazers. He works for the Portland Tribune. He just dashed my hopes for a Jeremy Grant sighting here in Sacramento. Would love to see Jeremy here. And I like the fact, Katie, that he brought up the defense too. He talked, because the numbers, and you pointed them out to me, indicate he's not a good defender.
His defensive rating was 120.2 this season.
Right.
I mean, It was, but if you look at Portland defensively, they were really horrendous this year. And a lot of what they played, and the Kings actually struggled with it for massive parts of that game, they played primarily zone defense. So as an individual player, that's going to impact impact your defensive rating when you're playing so much zone.
All right, coming up in just a little bit, we have your calls, 916-339-1140. What do you think about Jeremy Grant? Seems like it's a pipe dream. We're going to hear from you guys. You're listening to Chris and Co. with Drapes and Kayte Christensen here on Sactown Sports 1140.
It's Cattles and Rami.
I use vitamin D pills at home. You're trying to bait me into something here. I've been in enough trouble lately, man. I'm going to Vegas tomorrow. You might stay in Vegas if you miss your bar. Not taking the bait. That's bait right there. That's what that is. It is. I admit it. All right. But I do take vitamin D, Bill. It's a little nature. Well, I'll show you.
Go 19 minutes without getting in trouble,
These
man.
bad boys.
Cattles and Rami, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Sactown Sports.
So I'm a public school teacher and I'm on my feet all day long. That would be on concrete. The pain would shoot up my heels and just increased from the bottom of my feet up. Then my back started hurting. So my husband and I were driving and I went, oh, look, there's a Good Feet store. I'm greeted by this gal named Mercy. That was a perfect name for her. And the cool thing about the Good Feet store is that you're able to try before you buy. I had free fittings. She was able to fit me with special arch supports. And so I walked around in the store. Within 30 minutes, I started sobbing because I had no pain. Well, if your feet are hurting, do something about it. You don't have to grin and bear it. You need to go to the Good Feet store and get some arch supports. I'm Deidre, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how they work for you with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Sitting at your desk? Watch Chris and Company now. YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Drapes and Kayte Christensen here with you. The 11 o'clock hour, Sactown Sports 1140, Chris and Co. We're filling in for Chris Watkins. He'll be back tomorrow. Take you up to 2 o'clock, Cattles and Rami. We're continuing to talk NBA. We'll get into some NBA coaching news in just a minute. Doc Rivers, the latest coach to be fired in the NBA. But I want to get to line one. Mitch is on line one, wants to talk about NBA offseason. What do you got for us, Mitch? No Mitch. All right, cut him off. Mitch,
Gave him a chance.
Yeah, he waited. He was on there for a little bit and, nowhere to be found. So we tried to get Mitch on. But I mentioned the coaching changes out there. Like I said, Doc Rivers, the latest one. Yeah. Monty Williams fired. Mike Budenholzer, Nick Nurse gone out there in Toronto. Here's my stance when it comes to the coaching changes. It is out of control, Kayte. You cannot tell me that Doc Rivers is not a good coach. You cannot tell me that Mike Budenholzer, who won a title, is not a good coach. Nick Nurse is not Monty Williams is not. These are good coaches who the leash is so short. You look at Doc, 3 seasons in the NBA with the Philadelphia 76ers. He took the Celtics to a Game 7, Kayte.
But
series.
That's the big hit.
But that's the thing. Nobody expected the Sixers to beat the Celtics, though. And so are we blaming him for James Harden's shortcoming, Joel Embiid's shortcoming? I think coaches, and Steve Kerr mentioned it the other day, coaches are hired to get fired. I think what we're doing to these NBA coaches is just wrong, to be honest.
There's a reason why their contracts are guaranteed. They make their money no matter what, because they really are the NBA's biggest scapegoat, without a doubt.
Right.
When you look, like Mike Budenholzer to me was the first one. I was baffled, and it's crazy because I had texted Carmichael Dave during that series, and I was like, "Do you think that he gets fired if they don't win this series?" He's like, "No, I don't think so." I said, "I bet he does. I bet he does, because this is the environment that the NBA has created. And we're talking about Giannis getting injured in game 1, playing 11 minutes, missing the next 2 games, and they're not able to recover from that, to have their MVP candidate not available in playoff games, and they don't have enough to get past a Miami Heat team that, by the way, I mean, they might go to the NBA Finals.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so you're going to look at it and you're going to say, wow, like, is this a coaching problem, or is this the part of the game? Injuries, maybe your roster isn't as complete as you think it is as a general manager. And then Monty Williams, they absolutely sold the farm to get Kevin Durant at the trade deadline.
Yes.
And then the game that you lose to exit the playoffs, Chris Paul is sitting on the bench. DeAndre Ayton is sitting on the bench. And this is Monty Williams' fault. This is Monty Williams' fault. What kind of illegal stuff are you snorting right now?
But here's the thing. Everybody thinks they should be a champion.
There's an ownership change.
Ownership
in Phoenix.
change there.
And so that also, like, that I think factors into it. But to me, it's just it's crazy. Toronto, I kind of get, but the other 3 to me were like, oh my gosh, even when you look at Doc in Philly, I mean, you know Doc from the time
Boston
in
days.
Boston,
Yep.
and there is a knock on him about losing game 7s. Is it? And we were just talking earlier in the show about the playoffs are fun because that's when coaches get an opportunity to shine. So is it a coaching issue, or is it a James Harden issue? I don't know.
I'm from Philly. I'm a Sixers fan. I'll admit that. But what I saw in Game 7 of the second half with James Harden and Joel Embiid, I don't care if you had Newt Rockne, Doc Rivers, Phil Jackson, Popovich, whoever. If your players lay down, if your players stop competing, and maybe that's the indictment, I guess, because if you're,
how can you not get your players?
How can you not get your players? But I think, in the NBA, obviously, it's such a player empowerment league. The coaches are sort of the fall guys for some of these shortcomings. You mentioned Mike Budenholzer in Milwaukee. Nobody's talking about the fact that despite Middleton being hurt during the regular season, Giannis missing time during the regular season, he kept that thing together and coached them to the best record in all of basketball.
Exactly.
And so I you know what? I would love to be a coach. I feel like I have a passion, but this is the side of coaching where it's just not fair. And I understand the guaranteed contracts. Yep. Monty Williams, he's still going to get paid.
The reality is coaches like Doc. I mean, and there are some questions. There are some people that are like, Doc's not going to get another job. I find that incredibly difficult to believe. But Budenholzer, Monty Williams, everyone's like, oh yeah, they're immediately going to have another job. So there's that thing. Like once you reach a certain level as a coach, it's like Doc when he went to Philly. After leaving the Clippers, I mean, it was like 3 days later and he was already had another job.
Yes.
And so this is the reality of the situation. They are the scapegoat, more so than they should be. And I feel that it's sad that ownership does not put more of the responsibility on front offices for the deficiencies in roster construction. But I guess they've got they also know this going into it, right?
Yes, they know this. So there are 5 coaching openings right now. Pistons, Bucks,
I was going to say,
Sixers.
I thought Dwayne Casey was gone too. I was trying to look that up. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's gone.
No, he did the Alvin Gentry thing. He moved up into the front office as a contributor, as a consultant. Suns and Raptors. What's the top job you think open right now? If you could have your pick out of coaching any of those franchises, what's the number one?
I'd take Milwaukee.
Wow. I'm shocked. Hold up.
You want to know why?
I thought you might say Phoenix, because you got 2 stars down there.
You want to know why I'm not saying Phoenix? I looked at Phoenix and I'm like, wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Really?
Right. Because there's a new owner. And by the way, I was in Phoenix playing for the Mercury when Robert Sarver came in and bought the team. I was there for that whole immediate debacle and was not at all, put this down, not at all shocked about what happened because I was there from the beginning.
You
I was there from the beginning.
You got a book to write or something? Maybe someday you can shed some light on that?
As a coach going in, there's always, and we saw it here in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it here in Sacramento. There is a learning curve for new owners. And so I wouldn't want to be in Phoenix. I wouldn't touch it with 10-foot pole.
What do you think that learning curve is? It that they are more involved than they should be because it's their new toy, their new thing.
They're highly successful people. If you have enough money, especially in 2023, to buy an NBA team, you are wildly successful and you're very good at what made you that money. And a lot of times, in my opinion, people like that don't realize what they know and what they don't know. They know everything, right?
Yes.
So I think they have a hard time initially of hiring people to do the job that they don't know. So they're too involved.
So tell me why Milwaukee then? Because that's an aging roster.
It's an aging
Lopez
roster.
A free agent.
It's an aging roster, but you have Giannis. You have great ownership, great fan base. And when you look at, like, I don't know that I'd want Philly. I wouldn't want James Harden. And so then you look at Toronto and Detroit, and that's an easy one. So that's why, to me, Milwaukee is the prime job in those.
I would tend to agree, but I would say from a basketball perspective, give me Phoenix. And here's why. And I understand the new owner situation and all that. But at the bottom, at the end of the day, you still have Kevin Durant and you still have Devin Booker. And I know the expectations are high, but you pair those two guys. You have to have a belief, however, in the front office.
Are you at all worried about their ability to stay healthy? They're superstars.
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that.
Really?
I thought, Kevin Durant played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He played in the playoffs. Devin Booker,
he missed a lot of time in the regular season.
He missed a lot of time in the regular season, but that's why you fill out the roster, hopefully, they
gave up a ton of their roster, which is why they found themselves in the spot that they were in the playoffs.
But every team has injury concerns, except Sacramento.
But they were way deeper before they brought in Kevin Durant. That's my argument.
Right.
They were way deeper before. So then you have someone like Ayton or Paul that isn't able to play. And then you literally have two people.
But you're talking about a free agent destination, Phoenix, which to me is more of a free agent destination.
I don't know what their salary cap looks like.
Than Milwaukee. You're talking about a great place, great weather, great fan base, 2 stars. We've seen stars want to pair up with Kevin Durant in the past, a Kyrie Irving, something like that. To me, Devin Booker is that next great star as well. And so I think Phoenix isn't that far off. And I understand they gutted the roster and everything. But you remember when LeBron went to Miami, you filled that roster with veterans. You filled with that roster with mid-level guys.
That's also Miami, who I feel like their entire MO, the majority of their time, because they've been so successful, they've never been able to rely on drafting, right? They've had to build through. They have, 6 undrafted players on their team?
7, I think.
7?
It is.
Is
7.
It 6 or 7?
Yeah.
7. Okay. That has been their prerogative for so long. They have never been able to build through the draft or rely on that. They've done it through going out and finding undrafted players that perfectly fit their system, right? And so I think that also has a lot to do with why they were successful with that whole, big 3 combination and how they filled it out, because they already have a system in place of finding the perfect guys to fit their system.
All right, we got much more NBA talk coming up right after this. Sactown Sports, 11:40 a.m. It's your boy Drapes. Kayte Christensen taking your calls next, 916-339-1140. Which franchise would you want to coach? Suns? Bucks? What about the Sixers? We'll take your calls next.
The 49ers 2023 schedule is out and filled with big matchups.
The 49ers start the season with a Week 1 showdown in Pittsburgh.
At home in Week 5 against the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football.
And a Week 13 NFC Championship game rematch with the Eagles.
San Francisco!
Plus, get every 49ers game this season on Sactown Sports. Visit SactownSports.com for the latest team news and a full schedule breakdown.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Quick Quack Car Wash.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. Your Thursday forecast looking mainly sunny with a light southwest wind. Afternoon temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s with overnight lows in the 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Discover the shinier, stronger car wash experience with the new ceramic duck only at Quick Quack Car Wash. Try our premium wash at 50% off by texting duck to 41284. You are going to look spectacular. Text duck to 41284.
Everyone knows Elk Grove Kia is home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new Kia. But did you also know that Elk Grove Kia is your one-stop place for used cars? I'm talking over 300 used cars available. With Kia's certified program, with its 165-point quality assurance inspection, we know peace of mind on used cars is important. And that's why we also offer extended service agreements on all our used makes and models. Most prices are under Kelley Blue Book retail. New car protection at used car prices. From used sports cars to used delivery vans, we got them all at Elk Grove Kia. And our financing folks have over 100 years of combined experience. So we approve just about everyone. No credit, little credit, bad credit, no problem. And Elk Grove Kia is proud of our don't like it, bring it back guarantee for up to 3 days or 150 miles, no questions asked. Why would you buy your used car anywhere else? So check us out online at elkgrovekia.com today.
Turn your highway into a smileway. Elk Grove Kia.
I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. We provide a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to determine eligibility. Businesses of all types can qualify, so go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Download the Innovation Refunds app or go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
It's the wine event of the year. Don't miss the Lodi Wine Experience, May 19th and 20th. An iconic weekend of world-class wines, delicious food, and live music at Lodi Lake Park. Tickets at LodiWineExperience.com. Must be 21 and over.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with zero down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
Zero down with approved credit.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Rillard with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Miami Heat took home court advantage away from the Celtics last night with their 123-116 win in Boston. The Heat lost every quarter of the game except for the third quarter when they outscored the Celtics 46-25. Tonight is Game 2 between the Nuggets and Lakers. The Nuggets lead the Lakers 1-0 and will look to make it 2-0 when they go to Los Angeles this weekend. Sasha Vesnikov of Olympiacos and maybe soon to be Sacramento King has been named the 2022-23 EuroLeague MVP. Zenkov averaged 17.2 points per game to go along with 6.8 rebounds and 1.8 assists. For more on the EuroLeague MVP, check out Sactown Sports Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's article on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Chris and Co. with Kyle and Katie.
Keep keeping you company with the company. It's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
11:34 here on Sactown Sports, 11:40 a.m. Chris and Co. Drapes and Katie Christensen here with you, taking you up to 2 o'clock when Cattles and Rami are going to be stepping in. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll talk NBA playoff action last night. The Miami Heat opening up their series with the Celtics with a big win. Chris mentioned that huge third quarter that they had, outscoring the Celtics 46-25. We got game 2 tonight, Lakers and Denver Nuggets. We'll preview that. But I want to continue on this coaching talk because Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN says that the Phoenix Suns are seeking permission to hire our guy, Katie, Kings associate head coach Jordy Fernandez, for that head coaching vacancy. You know, it seems like anytime something comes up, Jordy's name is mentioned. Mike Brown speaks extremely highly of him. I think one of the game's young, bright minds coming up. And, you know, selfishly, I want Jordy to stay, you know. I want him, you know, because he's a good dude, cool guy. But I'm rooting for him to get that opportunity, obviously. What do you think about Jordy as a potential head coach and maybe an opportunity for him?
So this is part of kind of the evolution of head coaches, right? Your associate head coaches, top assistants on good teams, and then you start the interview process and you start being put into the mix. And I don't know what the potential is of Jordy getting his first head coaching job this year, but it's very telling to me that Toronto asked for permission to interview him.
Yes.
Now Phoenix asking for permission to interview him. It tells you a lot about the reputation that he has in this league. And so that is tremendous. Selfishly, I as well, I'm like, don't take him. But for Jordy, if he gets that opportunity, that would be amazing for him. I think the toughest thing for guys like Jordy, who this would be his first head coaching job in the NBA, usually those jobs are for teams that are kind of bottom barrel, right?
Right.
Like Detroit.
Yeah.
Toronto struggled this season, but I have a hard time considering them bottom barrel. They're not. Detroit certainly is. And I think that's the really difficult part about your first head coaching job, to be that situation. Like, it's very unusual to see what Luke Walton did when he got the Lakers job after being the assistant in Golden State. Like, that just doesn't really happen, to land a job like that. There's obviously some reason behind it because of his history with that organization. But, when you look at the names of coaches that are kind of out there, Mark Jackson, again, getting the interview as well. I mean, I feel like for several years now has always been in the conversation. But let me read some of these names. These are the top coaching candidates, there's 5 openings: Phoenix, Detroit, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Toronto. Frank Vogel. Obviously, you've got Nick Nurse, Monty Williams, Mike Budenholzer, Doc Rivers. But here's the names: Kenny Atkinson, Mike D'Antoni, still being considered, which that just blows my mind. Dave Yeager.
Yes.
Which Kings fans
Old
very
friend,
familiar with that. Terry Stotts, Mark Jackson, who we said, and then James Borrego. So, it's wild to me how competitive it is.
And those are some coaches that have had success in this league as well. But I wonder, because when you look at those names, all great coaches, but the trend we're seeing, I feel like,
is young first-time
coaches. You look at what happened in Boston. You look at, Houston going with Ime Udoka, Orlando, Utah, Portland, with Chauncey. And so, I'm surprised I haven't heard Sam Cassell a whole lot on that mix. But if you're Jordy, for instance, do you want to go to a pressure-packed situation where expectations are high, like a Phoenix? Or are you looking at a Detroit where you could, mold some young talent and bring them up? I think that's one of the things you have to weigh as a coach. If I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the stars and are they coachable? That's my first thing. Whoever you have, are you coachable on that team?
I also think it's not even just about the stars, but it's also about the organization, ownership, front office, that type of thing. You got to look at the stability of the whole thing. It's like being a college athlete and committing to a school, going and the coach being fired a year after you're into it. Because if that front office is not stable,
right,
then the first general manager that comes in is going to want to bring in his or her own head coach. That's just generally how it works. If I were Jordy in this situation, I would look at the position he's in with the Kings. Obviously, very, very critical to this team's success. The potential for this team next year and building. And if you believe that this team is going to continue to get better and better, it raises your stakes. It raises your profile in the sense that maybe your next opportunity isn't going to be a Detroit, a team that's kind of rebuilding, that kind of situation. It's going to be a contender type team, like even look at, what is it? Will Hardy? Will Hardy. Yeah, Will Hardy in Utah. I mean, honestly, no one was like, okay, who is this guy? Look what he did with that team this year. You know what I mean? So it was the situation that he walked into. So I think that as a coach that is a first time kind of going through the interview process to become a head coach, those are the things that I would want to weigh, because I've been in Sacramento long enough to understand what instability looks like and how it impacts every piece of the organization and what it's like as a head coach coming into that. And being like, gosh,
maybe not the roster, not as important, but the relationship with the front office.
Yes.
And we're seeing that here in Sacramento with Mike Brown and Monty McNair West.
The front office and ownership. Right.
Right. Okay.
Like it's a combination of all of those things. I mean, the roster, especially on a team that's rebuilding, it's going to shift. It's going to change. There's going to, be a lot of different movement for various reasons. But if you're going into a situation where the front office doesn't seem very secure and safe, then you're not safe.
If you say that, then to me, out of the openings, I'm looking at the Toronto Raptors as maybe the prime job because, you have the faith in Masai Ujiri to build it the right way. Philadelphia, I'm staying away from. Who knows what James Harden's going to do? Joel Embiid, I love the talent on the floor, but I don't like him folding in Game 7, second half like he did. Daryl Morey.
I don't think you can win with James Harden. I don't think you can win with James Harden. Another reason why I wouldn't take the Philly job. I don't think you can win with him. I know it's a terrible thing to say. I know all these things. This is just my own personal opinion. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not saying James Harden is not a great basketball player. I don't think you can win with James Harden.
I don't think you can win with today's James Harden.
That's the only version there is.
And it's not because of the style of play or anything. For me, I just don't think he has it anymore. Yeah. If I see James Harden from Game 1 against the Celtics or Game 4, I think it was, against the Celtics, I think you can win with that guy. But the problem is you don't see that consistently anymore. To me, at best, James Harden is a number 3 option. If you're asking James Harden to help you carry to a championship,
you got to have, he's so petty to me. He will go from taking a lot of shots, being aggressive, to like, I'm not going to shoot it all in the second half. Like, then what's your purpose? Like, to me, there's so many other things going on up inside that bearded dome that causes, big question marks to me.
I agree with you on that. And the thing about James Harden, player option, I think he's going to opt out and want to get paid. He's going to want to get paid. And I kind of feel like he has Philly by the you-know-whats. Yeah. Like, what do you do? If you don't pay him, you let him walk.
Yeah, for nothing.
For nothing. And then what do you do with Joel Embiid?
Sign and trade options, things like that. But that's also, with a player like that, it's hard to maneuver.
All right, we'll talk more about the NBA, also the Sacramento Kings. What do they need? We'll take your calls as well. 916-339-1140. You're listening to Kayte and Kyle here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Sinking, that's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Tony Kemp. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
With a really nice selection of excellent cars and trucks on the lot every day, M&S Auto on El Camino Avenue, right off the Cap City Freeway, welcomes you. Repeat M&S customers come back because they get great vehicles and they save thousands. 4x4s, SUVs, American muscle cars, top-selling vehicles, fair deals for way less than a brand new car. First-time buyers are welcome. MSAutogroup.com.
At Ashton and Price, over the last 25 years, we've won just about every injury case you can think of. Slip and fall, falling merchandise, fell through rotted decking, we won those. Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured,
remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Come shop Memorial Day deals now at Lowe's. Prep your yard for the summer for less with 5 for $10 Scott's Naturescapes mulch. And save on appliances with up to an additional $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Find savings across the store today, like 5 for $10 mulch. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid to 5/31. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. While supplies last, selection varies by location. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See store at Lowe's.com for details.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you find the right customers. Spread awareness of your product or services. We can help build trust in your brand and services with a digital marketing campaign. Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing campaigns that deliver results. Don't wait. Get started today. Contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder. Thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Kevin Lewis of National Garage Door. Whether you need to repair a broken spring, install a new opener, or buy a quality Rainer door, National Garage Door is here for you. Call us today to see how we can transform your house with a new garage door.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Sactown Sports, 1140 a.m., 916-339-1140. A lot of NBA talk at the top of the hour. We'll get to tonight's playoff game between the Lakers and the Nuggets. Is it a must-win for the Lakers? I'll ask Katie that. Plus, we'll talk about the Heat beating the Celtics last night in game one. But
how wild is it when you look at the fact that Miami and LA were both playing teams and they're in the conference
But Katie, hold up now. These are not legit.
Yes, no, I know, but this is why it makes
teams.
an argument for, we've always been on the side of the play-in's great because the Kings, I was like, it was another opportunity to get in the play. And then when you're in that upper echelon, which I can understand why LeBron was like pissed a few years ago about the play-in situation. Because it's like, I'm pretty sure everyone in the playoffs were like, no, we don't want the play-in because we don't want to face the Lakers. We don't want to face Miami because look what happens.
But you know what about the play-in? And this is a thing, it just popped in my head, Katie. It allows teams to sort of cakewalk through the regular season.
Well,
and as long as you get into the play-in, you have a chance. So if you're a veteran team like the Lakers we saw, even the Warriors, even though they didn't get into the play-in, they were, a game away from being in the play-in. And so does it devalue the regular season?
So
that's what the critics say.
I can understand that point of view. But I want to believe that there is not a shot in hell that any team in the NBA, no matter what your franchise and your history, is ever going to risk cakewalking, right? What I think it does is it allowed a team like the Lakers, who struggled early on and were quite frankly terrible. This is a completely different team than the Kings faced this regular season, because we faced them prior to the trade deadline.
Yes.
Our series against the Lakers was over before the trade deadline. The roster is completely rebuilt, right? And then you have LeBron. So there's that factor. And Anthony Davis has actually been able to stay on the floor and remain somewhat healthy. And then you look at Miami. We faced them early in the year.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about what happened in Miami, but they've got Victor Oladipo is out. He's out with an injury that ended his season. Tyler Hero's is out.
Yeah.
And they still have been able to overcome the hurdles of the season and at least put themselves in a position to where they get in the play-in. And at that point, it allows teams to recover from injuries, to deal with those eventualities during the season, or those things that are definitely, you might face, and have it not be season ending. So I get the criticism, but I also get why I actually really like it, even though it means giving a team like the Lakers an opportunity to win another title via the play-in tournament.
The play-in. You got two teams who are in the play-in, and think about it. Miami lost their first play-in game.
They did.
Yeah, no, they're the number 8 seed. And so what I'll say about this, and this
by the way,
you,
had they won, they would have faced Boston in the second round.
Yeah, no, you're right. But, when you look at the play-in, to me, it just shows that there's parity in the NBA. And that
more than has ever been.
And, and if you're Adam Silver, even though they're the 8 seed and the Lakers are the 7 seed, whatever, you have to be happy that now your playoffs are open to everybody. Anybody can win the way the NBA is right now. But as a Sacramento Kings fan, I worry about next season. So the Lakers obviously underachieved during the regular season, turned it on second half. Now, are they going to be better going into next season? You look at some of the other teams, and we talked about it earlier. Minnesota, will they be better? New Orleans, once healthy, will they be better? Golden State, we'll see what happens with them. And so the Sacramento Kings as the 3 seed.
Dallas.
The
Clippers.
Can we really expect the Kings to be a 3 seed next season?
You can't expect it. You can't take anything for granted. Just like the Lakers can't expect to come in and be a 1, 2, or a 3 seed. But you still have the ability to get where you want to get because of things like the plan.
Yes. I just think, as I circle back to what we talked to start the show, 48 wins, 3 seed, that's not going to get it done next season. 48 wins might not get it done next season for the 3 seed. I don't want
it might for
this
the
last
seed.
season.
It might for the 4 seed. It might put you at
but
the
they need to be
seed.
better. I think Sacramento needs to be better. The same effort, the way it's going to play out. I don't think if you run it back just like this, it'll be the same result. We're all good. No, you got to prove these other teams are getting better, Katie. These other teams, we'll see if New Orleans ever gets fully healthy, but they'll be great. Minnesota, another year for Rudy Gobert in the system, and we'll see what they do in the offseason. I mean, I don't think we can be satisfied with what just happened. I think
Utah. I mean, come on.
OKC's going to be better.
The Western Conference is a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. But to be honest, it goes back to what you said a moment ago. The parity in the NBA is like never before, ever. And I will say this, when you talk about next season, you have to be better. That's a given, right? That's the whole point. Especially after ending a playoff drought like the Kings were in and going through what they've gone through over the last 15, 16 seasons, right? You have to be better. You have to build. But the reality of the situation is you're not shocking anybody anymore.
Yes.
You're not shocking anyone anymore. So not only do you have to be better, you have to be better.
Yeah, right.
You know what
Not
I'm
just
saying?
Better. Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
you have to be prepared for the fact that no one's going to be shocked by you anymore.
All right, I want to get Mitch on the line. Mitch redialed in. He's back now. He's going to be on with Kyle and Katie. Mitch on line 1. Let's do it, man.
How we doing, guys? Thanks for my call.
Good.
Take my call. Sorry for my I apologize for the phone. I went inside, stepped out.
All right, Mitch, you ain't got to give us the play-by-play. What you got?
Hey, first of all, I would take Philly, but I'll be getting rid of James Harden 2 seconds after I sign that contract. If I would love to have Grant if it's just money. And Poland, they have a good set of they have like 3 good guards. I think 3, maybe 4. They can trade, move down a little bit. They need somebody in the 4, a younger guy. Don't trade that pick. And you got to keep Damon. I mean, they gave him the money. What more do these players want? They want everything. They want the cake, too. You got a big contract. They're doing their best.
Nah, Mitch, nah. See, and Mitch, I respect your call. But here's the problem with that. In today's day and age, us in the media, the rings culture has gotten out of control. It's like your career is devalued if you don't win a ring. And so if I'm Dame Lillard, I'm starting to look around and I'm starting to say, you know what? We're not good enough. And you've given the franchise a decade or more of service, the loyalty that you've shown. And so I don't blame these players for wanting to leave their current situation for better. People could complain about Kevin Durant.
I don't either, but I do blame players that are literally just ring seeking, hopping from contender to contender.
I'm
hopping from contender to contender to contender.
Are you talking Kevin Durant?
I mean, isn't that a little bit?
But where else you going to hop, Katie? Where else? You're not going to hop to Detroit, are you?
I'm going to build it instead of go somewhere where it's already built.
But Katie, here's where you're wrong. If you have an opportunity to advance your career, work for a better franchise, a better organization, why don't you take it? And knowing you'll be judged at the end of the day on how many rings you won, Kevin Durant's already established himself as an MVP, a multiple-time finals MVP. The only thing missing on his resume are more rings. And so
you don't for 1 second look at his career, and I'm not knocking it because it's your prerogative. When you are that type of a player, you get to make your own damn decisions. Trust me, you can go wherever the heck you want. You have the power.
You can go wherever you want.
If it were you as a player, let's just role play for a second. Would you like to say, I've got 5 rings with 4 different organizations because
as long as I'm the top dog.
Hold on. Instead of saying, you know what? There's no piece of you that would be like, I built something here.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But you're trusting the organization, the front office, and ownership to put you in that position. That's what I'm concerned about as a player. And, let's talk about Portland. Does Dame believe in the front office? Does he believe in ownership?
Oh, he's shown that he has loyalty.
He has loyalty.
So I ain't mad at him if he leaves
but if they're
and
not
tries
getting
to
it
go
right,
for a ring.
All right, Katie, we're up against it. We're going to talk more about this because you got me fired up. I'm ready. You tapped into something with me. Sactown Sports 1140. You're listening to Drapes and Katie Christensen.
The Kings season might be over, but Sactown sports coverage never stops.
I feel like we grew a lot during this playoff series with our defense, and if we can sustain that during the year, that's going to help us a lot.
Stay tuned all off-season to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with 0 down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at folsomlakeford.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com. 0
down with approved credit.
When you're ready to get properly fitted for golf clubs, join the thousands of Northern California golfers who visited the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio. Players of all abilities found the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio offers answers to questions about golf club fitting. You'll find a professional staff of fitters, major equipment brands, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan. See for yourself at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Call 916-808-2531 to schedule your fitting. 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
Are you ready to finance your first home or your next move? Well, let Safe Credit Union's local mortgage team help you get pre-approved before you start looking for that perfect home. Jason Ross here, and now through June 30th, get a $900 lender credit when you choose Safe Credit Union for your home lending needs. And Safe's mortgage team has an excellent record of personalized service because they're all about you. You'll know exactly what to expect and feel supported during each step of the process. Apply for a Safe Home Loan today at safecu.org/get900 and let's Safe put you first. Safe Credit Union is an equal housing opportunity lender.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. Or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Hey, movie fans, the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento is now serving adult beverages. Rev your engines for Fast X, the IMAX experience, playing this week.
I am the man that's going to break your family. Piece by piece. You will never be able to break my family.
The Fast X family is back on the largest screen in Sacramento. Getting tickets is easy. Visit IMAX.com/Sacramento for reserved seating. Plus, join the free IMAX Directors Club to receive special member pricing on tickets and concession purchases each time you visit the Esquire IMAX Theater.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Ladd with your Sactown Sports headlines. Miami Heat took home court advantage away from the Celtics last night with a 123-116 win in Boston. The Heat lost every quarter of the game except for the third quarter when they outscored the Celtics 46-25. Tonight is game 2 between the Nuggets and the Lakers. Nuggets lead the Lakers 1-0 and will look to make it 2-0 when they go to Los Angeles this weekend. Sasha Vezenkov of Olympiacos and maybe soon to be Sacramento King has been named the 2022-23 EuroLeague MVP. Vezenkov averaged 17.2 points per game to go along with 6.8 rebounds and 1.8 assists. For more on the EuroLeague MVP, check out Sactown Sports Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's article on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Chris and Co. with Kyle and Kayte.
Sitting at your desk? Watch Chris and Company now. YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Top of the hour here on Drapes and Kayte Christensen, Chris and Co., Sactown Sports, 1140 a.m., 916-339-1140, taking you up to 2 o'clock. Kayte, we just had a discussion about players jumping from team to team. It got heated, and I'm still upset. I'm still in my feelings about this, and I want the people to weigh in. Here's my problem with what you said. When a player gets traded, when an organization moves on from players, it's A-okay. But when a player exercises his right to choose where he wants to go, or to say, you know what, it's not working here, I want to go elsewhere, we have a problem with that. We can't ask these guys to define their careers by rings, because you got to have rings to become an all-time great, but yet get mad at them when they chase rings. That's the problem, I think, with the media's argument about Kevin Durant, even LeBron James. People say, well, look, he paired with Dwayne Wade, and now he got Anthony Davis. You need other great players around you. Would you rather have a career like Charles Barkley, who actually bounced around and got traded multiple times, or would you rather have a career like a player that bounced around and won rings? LeBron James, let's say. I think ultimately, when you look at Kevin Durant, the only thing that matters now is winning. And so he's not in OKC anymore. So he can't just sit there and be a homegrown talent and bring guys in. Now he's pairing up with guys to help him get to the championship. And ultimately, Kayte, it's not like he's at the back of his career where he's the 8th, 9th man and just hanging on. He's still one of the top players. If the Phoenix Suns win the championship, it's because Kevin Durant played well and Devin Booker played well. Same thing with Golden State. As great as Golden State was, Kevin Durant was the 2-time finals MVP when they won it. So I'm not going to criticize him for pairing up with other great players. To win in the NBA, you have to be paired with other great players. And so that's my thing. And we're looking at Dame Lillard, and I applaud his loyalty. It's great. But if he doesn't win a ring in Portland, what's going to be the knock for his career? He never won a championship. And so there comes a point, and I think Dame's at that point, where you have to go where
so I think the difference
the best
is,
position you're going to win a championship.
I think the difference is, right, is Dame's window closing because he was loyal for so long. So, Kyle, neither viewpoint is wrong, right? It's just the way that I view things, and it's just how my brain functions. There's never going to be any doubt when Kevin Durant's career is said and done that he's going to be one of the great players of all time. He is. He's phenomenal. Right. He has won and he will win multiple rings, right? There's always going to be an asterisk on it as well, right?
Because he went to other.
Because that is the narrative. Yeah, he went and chased.
So how do you win in that situation? How can you?
The standpoint.
Do you have to be Steph Curry and get lucky?
You got to take the choice that you make and live with it. And if other people have a problem with it, just do this. Flash the rings, right? But what I'm saying is, for me, there's something about it where I appreciate a player that has built something and taken it from the bottom to the top. There's something more poetic about that in the narrative of sports. And I appreciate the beauty in that. Also, because it's incredibly difficult, it doesn't really happen a whole lot.
It doesn't happen a whole lot. And I would say you have to have a strong and a good front office.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a player, a star player, and you don't believe in your front office,
the market also matters. Like OKC was not the type of market where you're
not attracting guys.
You're going to do that at as easy as you would say in Golden State or Boston or Brooklyn or LA. Like, it's just not the same. So there's all kinds of things that factor into it. I don't hate Kevin Durant for the decisions he's made. I'm just saying I don't really look at it as that. How did you view LeBron going to Miami? How did you view that at the time? Well, I mean,
I'm going back a few years.
Yeah, let me freaking try and remember that. What year was that even?
2010.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, that was so long ago.
So long ago.
And I think that he had given it an opportunity in Cleveland, and I can't remember because this is literally off the cuff. We're having this was not a planned conversation.
This is not a planned conversation.
I can't remember the details now, going back 13 years as to what led to him leaving. If memory serves correctly, he didn't feel that they were going to build what he wanted to build.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, I'm going to go. I do remember the decision and how moronic I felt that whole thing appeared to be.
All right.
But I wasn't upset with him for choosing to go to Miami, but I think more now with LeBron, the thing is just, from the outside looking in, what is a little bit frustrating and disgusting to a certain degree is the meddling. Kevin Durant's not a meddler.
When you say meddling,
you know what I mean.
No, I want to say it. Spit it out, Katie.
The meddling in front office decisions. And being overly vocal, putting your front office on the spot publicly instead of privately, and being so vocal about who you want to play with. And it's like, okay, so are you a player or are you the general manager? Like, is your job on the line? Because you're not going anywhere. You're LeBron James. But when you force a front office hand to make decisions like bringing in Russell Westbrook, for example,
right,
you're putting them in a position where their livelihood and their reputation and their resume is on the hook because they can't say no to LeBron James. Stop meddling. You know what I'm saying? Like, make your decision to go where you want to go to play, blah, 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 blah. Stop meddling.
And I applaud Rob Pelinka for finally, it seems like, making his own decisions at this trade deadline, a stroke of genius. I'm looking at the chat line, and some of the things that are being said really bothers me, really upsets me. One person says Kevin Durant didn't win anything on his own. He went and teamed up with others. In the NBA, you cannot win on your own.
No, you can't.
You cannot. You look at the Warriors dynasty, as great as it is, if Steph Curry doesn't have a slow start to his career in terms of the ankles and he didn't sign a max contract after his rookie deal, Steph Curry. He took a discount. The deal that the Warriors gave him was lower than what we expected. And so and that allowed him to re-sign Clay and re-sign Draymond and bring in all these other guys and everything like that. And so the days of sticking it out and building it yourself,
Isn't it amazing how the shift in the NBA historically has happened? I mean, players used to not have hardly any power.
Right. Yeah.
They really were just a commodity. And
I'm all for player empowerment.
That is
I'm all for that.
Of course. That is not where we're at now. You even talk about revenue share, those types of things. Like, this is an evolution that needed to happen in the game, right? But the game also had to be established. So you understand the history and going back and kind of the control and whatnot. I don't care if players want to go and seek rings, but I'm also like, you got to live with your decision, because there are going to be people that are like, you didn't do it. That's fine.
But here's
I'm
the thing.
sure they don't care.
Teaming up with other stars does not even guarantee. You still got to put in the work.
No,
you still got to go through the gauntlet.
And a lot of stuff has to go right.
A lot of stuff has to go right.
All that.
Exactly. And it'd be different if Kevin Durant or somebody went to a team and he was just a hanger-on. But wherever Kevin Durant goes, he's going to be one of the two best players. And so whatever team he has, he's going to help lead that team, like he did the Golden State Warriors.
Most teams he goes to, he is going to.
He's going to be the best player, and he's going to help lead them to a championship, 2-time Finals MVP in Golden State. All right, we want to hear from you. 916-339-1140. More NBA talk. We're going to get to last night's game. Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. They go into Boston and win Game 1. Plus, we'll preview tonight's Lakers Nuggets Game 2. That's all coming up next here on Sactown Sports 1140.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
You go with that one? There it is. Now, it's just the junior Tatis, not the senior.
It's the training one.
Oh, my God.
coming up in a few minutes.
It's good you picked him, too. He's got a lot of bounce in his game.
Okay, all I'm trying to do.
Is he a naturally gifted swing?
No. Actually, he got busted for PhD, so he's a back.
So he has enhancements.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
Pain is not normal. Repeat, pain is not normal. Greetings, Sacramento. Doug Christie here with the Good Feet store. Does this sound familiar? It's the end of the workday, and the pain in your feet, knees, hips, or back is unrelenting. Good Feet understands that you've likely already tried assorted remedies and solutions with no relief. And now you're pretty much resigned to living with the pain. But do not give in to the pain. Instead, come to the Good Feet store for their end-to-end 3-step arch support system. Good Feet is the nation's largest manufacturer and retailer of personalized arch supports. With arch supports in over 300 sizes, styles, and flexibilities, and an arch support specialist in each store. Come in today for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk around the store or around the center. Experience the comfort, balance, and support possible with the Good Feet system. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now in Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Keeping you company with the company. It's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Drapes and Kayte Christensen here with you on Sactown Sports 1140. Chris and Co. We want to hear from you. Hit us up 916-339-1140. Continuing to talk the NBA. Game number 2 tonight between the Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. We're going to discuss that and also talk about Miami getting game 1 against the Boston Celtics last night in Boston on the road. Big win. But I want to get to Jay on line 1. We were just talking about player empowerment, Kevin Durant moving from team to team. What you think about that? What do you got for me, Jay?
Yeah, appreciate you guys taking my call, man. It boils down to two things. As you know, this is a conversation that goes on a lot. But with KD moving, to different teams and whatnot, it's funny how no one blames LeBron for setting that trend. Michael set the bar with the 6 championships or whatever, and people have been trying to eclipse that. And if he's going to move around, to put himself in a better spot, especially when the standard bearer LeBron is not getting any backlash for doing so, I don't see how people can get mad at KD for that. It seems like a lot of people have problems with his off-court decisions, and that bleeds into the killer that he is on the court, which is kind of crazy to me. I'm
with you, Jay. I agree. And
LeBron did set the standard.
He did.
Yeah, and they made it a whole
overblown, right?
Charade.
But if you're a competitor and the standard is being set by someone you're competing against, and you're not ridiculing them for the moves that they make, how is it that you get ridiculed for making the same mistakes or same moves when consensus is that you're probably a better player than the other individual?
Yeah,
you would never play or be seen on that level until you even up the playing field and went head to head with them.
I think, Jay, and I appreciate the call. I think the people have a problem with KD going to the Warriors and the Warriors being the greatest team ever, coming off a 73-win season, and now they add Kevin Durant. But I'll say this regarding player movement. Why is it okay when teams trade players, but when players take control of their own situation, it's a problem? How many jobs, and I'm pointing this out to the audience out there and the people out there on the chat, how many jobs have you had in your career? How many times have you changed jobs? How many times have you changed organizations? I've worked at 6 or 7 different TV stations. Should I have stayed in a small market and made the best of it and grown that up? Should I have stayed in Boston and just stuck it out? And so these guys are taking control of their careers. They are taking control of their legacies, because that's what we're talking about right now, Katie. There's a hierarchy in the NBA between guys who have rings and those who don't. And those who don't, you're not in the club. You don't get invited into the party. And so when a guy chases a ring, they're trying to get their legacy. They're trying to be a part of that club. And so I don't have a problem with it.
Well, again, I don't have a problem with it. I'm saying there's an asterisk, right? And going back to our caller was Will, correct?
Jay.
What Jay was saying is that LeBron did set that standard when he left Cleveland. And by the way, there was a lot of kind of hate about it in the beginning of, oh, you're just leaving Cleveland and you're going to Miami. You're seeking a title. It's like, well, of course I'm seeking a title. That's what everybody wants.
Right.
I think it was a little bit at the time kind of an issue because they had made such a big deal about the Ohio boy being in Cleveland, the Akron boy, leading the Cavs, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, you just leaving for Miami? Like you couldn't go to a different place than from Cleveland to Miami, right? And so there was that involved in it. And obviously Cleveland was so desperate to win their drought, not even just in basketball, but just overall pro sports in Cleveland. So there was some hate there. But, I feel like for whatever reason, we've all put LeBron in this different category where he gets a pass on a lot of stuff other players don't get a pass on, including Kevin Durant. And is it fair? No, but this is also kind of how each player has their own almost set of rules and standards.
Right.
And, Kevin Durant is quiet. He doesn't say much. He just goes about his business. LeBron James is the exact opposite, but maybe unfairly, Kevin Durant gets a little bit too much shade.
I think, yeah, but I think there's a difference too. LeBron's been a free agent.
Yeah.
And so LeBron, I don't think, and you guys can correct me, I don't think LeBron's ever said, trade me. I want out.
I don't believe
Right.
so. I think it's all been free agent. And that's, by the way, that you're right.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's, when you're Kevin Durant and you're a year or two in a new contract or whatever it is, I think that's where people get upset. You just signed a contract here. Now you want to move.
It's like going back to your TV analogy. Just because you took your first job in, minute South Dakota or whatever, doesn't mean that they get to keep you forever.
Right,
That's not how it works.
Right, exactly. And so I get it. We can continue to talk about this player empowerment, player movement. The thing is, if you're a free agent, I'm okay with you going wherever you want to go. If you want to team up with Golden State, go for it. If you want to go to the Lakers, go for it. You're a free agent, and that's different, no doubt, than signing a contract and then after the first year saying, I'm out. I do want to talk about last night's NBA game because I think we need to give Miami Heat some respect. And if
you don't give them respect prior to last night, then you're just dumb.
You're just dumb, right? Once again, they go on the road and win a game one. They did it against the Milwaukee Bucks. They did it.
You know how incredibly hard that is?
Yes.
On the road.
On the road. They did it against the New York Knicks, and now they've done it against the Boston Celtics, winning last night 123-116. Jimmy Butler was phenomenal once again, 35 points, 7 assists. He had 6 steals in that game in a big third quarter, outscoring the Celtics, the Miami Heat, 46-25. I would like to say I'm surprised, Katie, but after watching the Miami Heat team and knowing them and knowing who they are and knowing the Boston Celtics also, this isn't surprising.
One of the things that I think actually was incredibly important for the turnaround for this Miami team this season, it goes back to February and March. And follow me here.
Okay.
In February, the last time that Kyle Lowry started a game for Miami was on the 2nd of February.
Wow.
Then he missed 15 games. He got injured. And when he returned to the lineup on the 11th of March, he was he was coming off the bench. And from that point on, he has come off the bench.
Right.
That decision by Eric Spoelstra, I think that minor adjustment of putting a player like Kyle Lowry to head up your second unit, I think that changed everything for them. And when you watched last night's game, the one thing that really, truly stuck out to me, their movement is incessant.
Ooh.
They're so good. They spread out the floor. They're so active. They're unselfish. And they have multiple weapons. Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent, you've got Caleb Martin, all these guys that perfectly fill their role, step up in big moments. They let it fly. There's no hesitation because, as we talked about earlier, every single player on that roster knows that Eric Spoelstra has complete faith and confidence in them. And that's how you go into Boston and win a game 1. Like nothing, no blow that they sustain is going to make them falter. And that's where Boston's in trouble. They're used to really like hitting a team hard and having them roll the hell over.
Like we saw Philly do. No, I agree with you. And, everybody counted the Miami Heat out when Tyler Hero went down. But you mentioned some of the guys that they had step up. I'm looking at it right here. Butler had 35. Bam had 20. Then you had 4 guys that had 15 points. Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, and Kyle Lowry.
I think all of Kyle Lowry's 12 points came in the third quarter, too. During that 46 to what was it, 25?
Yeah.
I mean, he absolutely changed the momentum of that game. It was crazy.
It was crazy. And Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, is a real thing. This guy didn't even make the All-Star team this year, Katie. Is he the most underappreciated?
Are you upset about that? Because up to that point, the way that Miami was performing,
right? That's the thing.
Did it didn't warrant? Was there a deserving? Right,
right.
No,
but
has he been maybe the best player in the playoffs?
Maybe. But here's the thing: I know what an All-Star looks like, and even though Jimmy Butler didn't make it, he's an All-Star.
Oh,
yeah, he's an All-Star.
Yeah,
right?
That doesn't go away.
He's an All-Star kind of player. And what amazes me about him is that he has a good regular season, but he flips it come playoff time.
Are you at all mad as a Philly fan that y'all let him slide away?
Of course. Everybody, and I mentioned this, I was talking to somebody the other day. The Celtics fleeced the Sixers in that Jason Tatum for Markelle Fultz swap, and people will point to that. I point to the Sixers' downfall choosing Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler. Can you imagine Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid? And it's not even the basketball, the skills. It's the toughness.
Yeah.
It's the mentality. It's a guy you want to go to war with. That's what the Sixers need. And Jimmy Butler is that guy. And so, you bring up a sore spot with me right now.
We'll get back on track. Okay.
All right. We got much more coming up here. It's Kyle and Katie here on Sactown Sports 1140. Coming up in a little bit, we're talking rings culture. I see somebody holding on. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk more NBA action, all that and more coming up next here on Sactown Sports 1140.
The Kings season might be over,
but Sactown sports coverage never stops.
It's probably one of the best starting points I could have had starting in the NBA, Sacramento.
Stay tuned all off-season to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. Your Thursday forecast looking mainly sunny with a light southwest wind. Afternoon temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s with overnight lows in the 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Plumbing, electrical, heating and air, everything that makes your home your home. With Bonnie, you sure got that covered. And right now, get your air conditioner tuned up for just $79. Originally $129. Bonnie.com.
Nothing tastes better than a craft beer on a beautiful afternoon. Sunrise Marketplace is transforming the Sunrise Mall parking lot into a backyard hangout on May 20th. There will be craft breweries, home brewers, cideries, meaderies, food trucks, and backyard games. This will be one of the best events happening this year. Tickets are on sale now at shopsmp.com. Use discount code HBREW23 for $5 off general admission. Every ticket helps support Citrus Heights Heart and Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce. We see a lot of pollutants like trash, pet waste, cigarette butts, pesticides, and fluid leaks from vehicles on our highways and in our waterways. This isn't what we want. Clean waterways, clean creeks, now that is what we want. You can help change this to that by picking up after your pet, properly disposing of litter, and reducing pesticide use. All Californians can protect our waterways. Learn how at BeRiverFriendly.net.
M&S Auto Sales is grateful for their many repeat customers. Ask one, and they might say they come back because it's the best car buying experience. Others come back to get the vehicle they want and save a ton of cash on a clean, late model, top-selling vehicle that they can be proud to own. The team at M&S Auto welcomes you, including first-time buyers. El Camino Avenue, just off the Cap City Freeway. msautogroup.com.
Listen to Oakland A's baseball on the weekends all season long right here on Sactown Sports, beginning with the pregame show brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
Nick Cattles reminding you that not all grills are created equal. Start your grilling season right with the amazing Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. My Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill, it's turning me into a pro. Just ask my friends that came over a couple weeks ago for my get-together. Napoleon Grills features other grills that just can't match. Built different, built better, built to last. I may never want to cook indoors again. All made with premium steel that boasts absolute quality. Go to Napoleon.com for your nearby Napoleon Grills dealer. Napoleon Grills, now is the time for the best selection of grills and fine accessories.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Kevin Lewis of National Garage Door. Whether you need to repair a broken spring, install a new opener, or buy a quality Rainer door, National Garage Door is here for you. Call us today to see how we can transform your house with a new garage door.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlot with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Miami Heat took home court advantage away from the Celtics last night with their 123-116 win in Boston. The Heat lost every quarter of the game except for the third quarter when they were outscored 46-25 by the Heat. Tonight is game 2 between the Nuggets and Lakers. The Nuggets lead the Lakers 1-0 and will look to make it 2-0 when they go to Los Angeles this weekend. Sasha Vezenkov of Olympiacos and maybe soon-to-be Sacramento King has been named the 2022-23 EuroLeague MVP. Vezenkov averaged 17.2 points per game to go along with 6.8 rebounds and 1.8 assists. For more on the EuroLeague MVP, check out Sactown Sports Kings insider Frankie Cardacelli's article on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Chris and Co. with Kyle and Kayte.
Live and local, it's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Drapes and Kayte Christensen here on Sactown Sports 1140. Chris and Co. with Kyle and Kayte today, 916-339-1140. We got Cattles and Rami coming up at 2 o'clock. Continuing to talk NBA. We were just talking about the Miami Heat big win last night over the Boston Celtics. Neither of us surprised about that. I want to switch to the Western Conference Finals. Lakers Nuggets. I see you shaking your head.
Wow.
I don't think it's over, but I do think the Lakers need to win tonight, Kayte.
No, I don't think it's over. I think this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out series for sure. And, we were talking early in the show about kind of what's great about the playoffs is that it really displays coaching and coaching moves and decisions way more than you see during the regular season. And I thought what Darvin Ham did in the third quarter, putting Rui Hachimura on Jokic was game-changing. And I'm not talking about for that game because the Lakers lost that game.
One,
but I'm talking about going forward. in tonight. And I know that Michael Malone came out and said, yeah, like this is not nothing new.
We've seen it before. All that. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can see stuff. It doesn't mean like the Kings have seen a zone of 50 million times during the season. Doesn't mean they don't struggle with it. You know what I mean? Like there's teams that have motion and cutting and backdoors. Yeah, you struggle when you clog things up with a zone defense. So I'm really excited to see how this team responds, because the first quarter, the Lakers looked horrendous in that first game, but that's comes with the territory of being in Denver and one of the best home court advantages in terms of, how difficult it is physically to play and adjust there. And so they've been there now for a few days. They had some practices. They know it's not the same. Your body has adjusted a little bit. And one of the things, I grew up at a mile high elevation. One of the things when I go home, initially you're super tired because you're just, you're working harder to breathe, and you don't even recognize it. The air, it's just different. So this game tonight, I agree with you. The Lakers need to get a win because this is the best offense in the playoffs against the best defense, which, by the way, the best defense gave up, 132?
132.
So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see the adjustments and whatnot, but I don't think that Denver has the advantage that they had in game one.
Yeah, and because when you look at the numbers, Jokic was phenomenal. 34 points, 20 rebounds, 14 assists, but only 3 points in the fourth quarter.
Oh, and they were free throws.
And they were free throws at the very end.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, he was completely neutralized.
And so the Lakers actually outscored the Nuggets 72-60 in the second half.
Each team dropped a 72-piece in a half.
Exactly.
It's just absurd.
So we were texting in the chat. I mentioned, is Jokic the most unguardable player in the NBA? No, you answered pretty quickly here. I'm going to say yes, and I'll tell you why. He can shoot the three. Great passer.
He's shooting it way more in the playoffs than he did during the regular season.
Exactly. Great passer. Can rebound the ball. Can finish around the bucket. You can't speed him up. He plays at his own pace. I'm trying to think of another player who gives somebody more fits than Jokic. Who you got for me?
To me, I mean, I think Kevin Durant is
Really?
impossible.
I just saw Kevin Durant struggle against the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
And Aaron Gordon, I thought, played extremely well against. I think Kayte at this age, a slow step slower. The injury history.
I think one of the things that makes Jokic difficult to defend is he's a big with guard type skills. He doesn't have athletic ability like a guard, but he has guard type skills. So he's the most difficult player to defend with the coinciding big, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like,
so
he knocked down a three on Anthony Davis. That was just an absolute prayer and absurd.
It was lucky. Everybody's talking about, what a great shot.
No, it
was kind of lucky.
That was,
I agree with you.
absolutely. That's not going to happen, but one time out of 25, maybe, But the thing is that he did struggle with Rui. And yes, Michael Malone, because so much of kind of how you approach things is psychological in the playoffs as well. Michael Malone said, oh, we've seen this before. Okay, well, if you've seen it before and you're in game one of the Western Conference Finals, why did he struggle with it so badly? Why was he neutralized by a tall, athletic, strong guard?
I'm not going to overreact to one quarter of basketball.
Just 2 quarters.
That I saw. Here's the thing. I want to see tonight.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
See, what adjustments, does Malone put him closer to the bucket? Put him on the block more, and then can Rory check him?
Here's the thing, which is so interesting about it. They did that in the second half. They put him on the low block. And guess what? Anthony Davis was just sitting there picking his nose in the middle of the paint because he could do whatever he wanted because Aaron Gordon was hanging out in the dunker spot doing nothing. it allowed Anthony Davis to actually be good at what he does.
Right.
It's, be down there protecting the rim. So to have Anthony Davis go out and have to defend him on the elbow, on the 3-point line, spread the floor, open backdoor cuts, he just camped around the rim. And every time Jokic came in there, every time anybody else came in there, he was there as that help defender. So I thought it was brilliant. Yeah. So I guess maybe Jokic is the most difficult player to guard in the NBA with the other big. Does that make sense?
Well, I want to see tonight if Darvin Ham goes back to that, because I need to see a full game sample, because a bad game for Jokic could be like 25, 10, and
he's not going to hit like 3 threes tonight.
You don't think so?
He doesn't even take that many.
He doesn't take that many.
He
right.
barely it's not a high volume type thing. But when a player's feeling it, they're feeling it. Not going to say he was so good. Offensively, he's so good. But is it just me? Am I the only one that is sick and tired of talking about how good Nikola Jokic is? He's brilliant offensively. There's really no one like him that is at that peak of a level, right? There's people that are similar to him. Like Domas is so similar to Jokic. He's just not as complete yet. Right?
Yeah, I could be that.
And so like the 3-point shot alone is one of the reasons why. But let's be honest. He also is a liability on the defensive end. And Van Gundy that entire game was sitting there just blowing him up. Oh, he's such an underrated defender. I took notes because Dave and I got in an argument about this. I took notes. Do you understand? I have it in my notepad in my thing.
Katie, screw the notes.
No,
I'm not going to let you do this to the 2-time MVP because there's this narrative going around and everybody wants to jump on this narrative. He doesn't play both ends. He doesn't play both ends. You know who else is a liability defensively? Steph Curry. That doesn't mean Steph Curry isn't one of the all-time great. Can we just appreciate what Jokic is? It seems like all of a sudden this year specifically, you, Mark Jones, Van Gundy, whoever it is, everyone wants to point out defensively.
No.
Guys,
my argument,
some of the great players out there have been hunted on defense all the time.
My argument of why he's not a 3-time MVP and whether or not this is fair or not, Kyle, when you're an MVP, you're constantly setting a higher standard for yourself and for the people that come after you, but more importantly for yourself. So the first time he won MVP, he was brilliant. Last year, winning MVP, he was brilliant without Jamal Murray, without Michael Porter Jr., and he took them so far literally by himself.
By himself, yes.
And this year, where have you grown? Where have you gotten better?
They're number one in the Western Conference.
Yes,
but he's had
he had
numbers
everybody
are better
with
this
him.
year, Katie.
Yes, but he had
the
everybody with
better.
him. But Kyle, what I'm saying, I'm not arguing the point of the numbers. I'm saying that we forget about the fact it's almost like getting numbed to greatness, right? So I don't understand why a player that is so good, one of the best in the world, why you can't say, I need you to grow here. We've seen it with Mike Brown. Mike Brown will say, hey, you need to be better on defense. I don't care how good you are on offense. You need to be better. I don't appreciate the kind of, I'm trying to think of a appropriate word to say on the radio of where basically guys like you cover up for it. You know what I'm saying? You try to pull wool over people's eyes. Can we just call a spade, appreciate him for what he is, but quit trying to make him out to be like, oh, he's an underrated defender.
No, who's that? Mike Malone?
Mike Malone? Van Gundy on the broadcast? I'm like, stop. You're not fooling anybody. Stop.
I just don't understand why all of a sudden this year we're hearing about Jokic's defense. We didn't hear about it the last 2 years he won MVP.
I thought, not loudly, but yes, it was there. I thought Embiid deserved to win MVP. You're a Philly fan. Why the hell are you arguing with me?
Because I do agree Embiid should have been MVP, but because he's a great player. Like, I'm going to build up Embiid, not knock Jokic, if you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying.
The argument that people make for Embiid over Jokic is dissing Jokic instead of bigging up.
I'm drinking the haterade, man. Just drinking the haterade.
Hey, we want to hear from you. I got my man Will on line one. We'll get to him coming up in a minute. Will, stay right there, my man. You're listening to Sactown Sports 1140. Kyle and Katie.
It's Kettles and Rami.
Portland ends up with the third pick.
Oh, Geedy's cast to the Spurs.
So
Give it to the Spurs.
It's either going to be the Spurs or the Hornets.
Come on, Charlotte.
The Hornets end up with the second pick.
Man,
the San Antonio Spurs.
Third time.
Land.
It's rigged, Nick.
Victor Wembanyama.
Nick is rigged.
They just want Pop to get his hands
on
it.
Rigged, man.
Kettles and Rami. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Sactown Sports.
My father was a career United States Air Force pilot, and Memorial Day is a reminder of all he and so many others did for our country. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Right now at the annual Memorial Day sale, everything in the store is on sale. Everything from living rooms to sofas to sectionals to dining rooms to home offices and so much more. And while you're there at Naturewood Home Furnishings, don't miss the parking lot clearance featuring drastically reduced closeouts, floor samples, and discontinued items now up to 50% off and more. Right now at the Naturewood Memorial Day sale, you can save in the store and in the parking lot. Whether you're looking to lighten the mood in your living room, brighten up your bedroom, or tighten up your home office, it's all available for you at Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Get to Acura of Stockton, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. And right now, lease a new Acura TLX, MDX, or Integra with low lease rates available. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton and AcuraofStockton.com.
Family-owned Clark & Rush, celebrating 60 years of serving Sacramento. It's time to convert your gas water heater and furnace to electric. Just turn to the experts at Clark & Rush and Carrier. We electrify more homes than any other contractor in Sacramento. Plus, we'll help you get up to $6,500 in utility rebates. We'll even do the paperwork. Call or visit clark-rush.com.
Smart energy savings is what we do. Clark and Rush.
Call 916-245-2829.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer. Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to three key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Sacramento area attorneys. 500 Capitol Mall, Suite 2060, Sacramento, California, 95814. CordellCordell.com.
Come shop Memorial Day deals now at Lowe's. Refresh your home for the summer for less. When you buy one, get one 50% off on select interior and exterior paints and exterior stains via Lowe's gift card rebate. And get ready for fun gatherings by saving over $100 on the Style Selections Pelham Bay 5-piece dining set. Now just $345. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 5/31 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
Sitting at your desk? Watch Chris and Company now. YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Little blow the whistle back here on Sactown Sports 1140. Kyle, Draper, Kayte, Christensen here with you, taking you up to 2 o'clock. Kettles and Rami. Hit us up, 916-339-1140. We continue to talk about the NBA. big game 2 tonight between the Lakers and the Nuggets. Huge game. See if the Nuggets the Lakers found something. Rui Hachimura against Nikola Jokic. Let's see what Darvingham does. I do want to get to the phone lines because we were also talking about rings culture, chasing rings, and everything like that. And Kevin Durant's name was brought up. Let's bring in Will on line 1. Will, welcome on. You're on with Kyle and Katie.
Kyle, you and Katie, man, you guys need to apologize to the fans, okay? Look.
What?
Okay. I called in about 30 minutes ago. I almost drove off the road, man, because Katie bashing Bron, talking about he chasing rings. Let me put this in context.
I didn't say Bron. I was talking.
Let me put it in context. Okay, you filibustered for 40 minutes. I'm on hold. Look, Kyle, you know this. What team had 3 Hall of Famers on it for the last 10 years and couldn't get it together?
You talking about Golden State?
Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, they had Westbrook.
All right. Yeah, I see what you.
Harden,
yep.
Durant.
Harden wasn't there that long, right? If memory serves.
He was on the same team. and what was the big African dude name?
Serge Ibaka.
Yeah. Look, you tell me, them guys in Golden State, or them guys in LA, or them guys in New York. You tell me they wouldn't have won the top. They wouldn't have figured out a way to win the championship. Okay, and let me keep going.
Get it off, Will. Get it off.
I'm putting it in context. When Brown was with Cleveland, he had no supporting cast. He had nothing. He went to ownership every year saying, "Man, I need help. Get me some people. Get me something. Give me something." Him by himself would take them to the playoffs, and he would average almost 40 points, and they'd still get blasted, right? So, my boy down, Dwayne Wade and the center, whatever his name is, say, "Hey man, come to Miami. Let's try to get something done." So he went and got a ring. Now Durant, how many teams he done been on chasing rings? He went to the Warriors and got him a couple of rings. He been running for 10 years. He went to New Jersey. Now he was Phoenix. Now,
I think Will might have hit a pothole or something, because I didn't say that LeBron was chasing rings. I said KD was.
Katie, let me finish. LeBron, let me tell you this. You probably don't know this, Katie, and I love you. I love what you do for the team. But look, Durant was the number 1 guy blasting LeBron.
No, I don't remember that.
Well, I'm telling you, you look it up. Kyle knows he was blasting LeBron when LeBron went to Miami.
Yeah.
Kyle, you know this.
Hey, Will, I can't co-sign everything you say, man. You're like, Kyle, you know this. You know this, Kyle. I can't co-sign everything you say.
But check it out, because look, I'm a Bron fan, okay?
All right,
I didn't know that.
I
hadn't picked that up.
Go ahead, Will. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, look, what did Shaq and Gary Payton them do when they got old? They all ran to Miami to try to get a ring. They got a ring in Miami. Gary Payton, I think he got one.
Yep.
And I think Shaq got one.
Shaq was on that squad.
Yeah, but when they ran to L.A. to try to get a ring with Karl Malone and them, they lost. So stop trying to. Everybody's trying to figure out something. They say he would never win the scoring title. He would never do this. He would never do. Well, people just leave LeBron alone.
Will, I appreciate you, man. Will, I appreciate. Hey, Will buried the lead. You should have said up front, Will, that you were a LeBron fan, and so I love the passion. I love the energy. And so here's my thing regarding Kevin Durant.
Can I just clarify one thing?
Go ahead.
I didn't say LeBron was chasing rings. Somebody else brought that up.
Yeah. Somebody else brought that. I was
talking about KD. And listen, I don't give a damn what players decide to do. You do you, boo. Like, it's your choice. It's your life. It's your career. I'm not going to lie and say that people ain't talking about that. I'm not going to bring it up because it's part of the conversation, right? And I'm not going to say that I don't have an opinion based on just me. Like, I'm allowed to that, right?
So, yeah, you're allowed that, Katie, but, and I'm not talking about you and my problem is when people judge careers by how many rings you got.
It's wild. I don't really do that. I don't judge Steve Nash. He's one of my all-time favorite players, Steve Nash. I do not judge him by the fact that he did not win a ring. I don't judge Chuck for not winning a ring. What I judge Steve Nash for example, I think he was instrumental in changing the game to actually shifting it to what it is now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What Mike D'Antoni, then Alvin Gentry, did in Phoenix with Amari Stoudemire, Joe Johnson, like you can get Raja Bell, Steve Nash, you can go down the list. They changed the NBA game to what it is now. It is more like the Phoenix Suns now than it is like the Detroit Pistons with Rick Mahorn you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you're changing the game, it's like you can't. It's part of an evolution. It's definitely more fine-tuned now than it was during that phase. So I don't judge Steve Nash's career on not winning a ring.
But he's not part of the club, though. That's to be part of the club. An all-time great. I'm talking about Mount Rushmore. You have to have that. You got to have that.
I can understand that argument. But it's really hard for me to say that he's not one of the all-time greats in his position.
I watched Charles, Shaq, Kenny, all those guys, and they killed Charles night in and night out for not having. And Charles Barkley was a great. He was awesome, and former MVP, Hall of Famer. He was great. But the one thing he doesn't have is the rings. And the thing about Kevin Durant, when he went to Golden State, were you okay with him going to Golden State? He chose to go to Golden State.
He chose to go.
He had his free agency.
Yes, Kyle, he chose to go there. I'm okay with it. It's his choice. I'm also like, damn, like that's fixing to be quite a different process for you to, you know what I mean?
And some say he forfeited his right, his ability to be on that Mount Rushmore by doing that.
No, that's just asinine. I don't think that Golden State has the titles that they have now without Kevin Durant.
Exactly.
Doesn't take away from the fact that Clay, Steph, Draymond factored into that. But if you think that it wouldn't have been different if Kevin Durant weren't on that roster, I also think that's just a little bit naive, right? That's a really good
think
question.
About that. He might have 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Then we're having a really interesting discussion then. All right, we got much more coming up. Sactown Sports 1140. Kyle and Kayte here with you. One more hour to go. Phone lines open 916-339-1140.
Sactown Sports is Sacramento's new home for the San Francisco 49ers.
It feels awesome. We deserve this. Let's go, Niners!
Purdy.
Purdy going to throw, and it is Kittle in the back of the end zone.
Samuel.
Debo 10. Debo. Touchdown!
And McCaffrey.
Touchdown! CMC!
They all live here on Sactown Sports.
Your official home for 49ers football.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Get ready for a night of thrilling punches and knockouts. Saturday, May 27th, Gold Country Casino Resort in Oroville is hosting a live professional boxing event. Watch Segundo Padilla from San Jose face off against Ronald Ron from Los Angeles. We'll also have other exciting bouts lined up for an unforgettable night of thrilling matches that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Get your tickets now at goldcountrycasino.com.
Gold Country Casino Resort.
Must be 21 or older.
Growing a business brings pressure. It's not easy to maintain momentum and still keep employees engaged. Fortunately, there's Insperity. Their scalable HR solutions help me with hiring, training, HR administration, and compliance while giving my employees competitive benefit options. When my people are able to thrive, my business can adapt and prosper. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
With a really nice selection of excellent cars and trucks on the lot every day, M&S Auto on El Camino Avenue, right off the Cap City Freeway, welcomes you. Repeat M&S customers come back because they get great vehicles and they save thousands. 4x4s, SUVs, American muscle cars, top-selling vehicles, fair deals for way less than a brand new car. First-time buyers are welcome. MSAutogroup.com.
Depression, anxiety, and trauma can happen to anyone. You aren't alone. 1 in 5 of us will have a mental health issue in our lifetime. And just like other illnesses, people who get support and treatment find healing and hope. Check in with someone you're worried about. And if you're feeling pain, ask for help. There's no shame in taking care of yourself or the people you care about. Be there for someone who's hurting, even if that someone is you. Learn more at StopStigmaSacramento.org.
So I'm a public school teacher and I'm on my feet all day long. That would be on concrete. The pain would shoot up my heels and just increased from the bottom of my feet up. Then my back started hurting. So my husband and I were driving and I went, oh, look, there's a Good Feet store. I'm greeted by this gal named Mercy. That was a perfect name for her. And the cool thing about the Good Feet store is that you're able to try before you buy. I had free fittings. She was able to fit me with special arch supports. And so I walked around in the store. Within 30 minutes, I started sobbing because I had no pain. Well, if your feet are hurting, do something about it. You don't have to grin and bear it. You need to go to the Good Feet store and get some arch supports. I'm Deidre, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how they work for you with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your home for the Oakland A's every weekend.
And it's swung on line to left center, base hit, and the A's have won it on a walk-off line drive, base hit to left center.
Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines. I'm Chris Rilott with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Miami Heat took home court advantage away from the Celtics last night with a 123-116 win in Boston. The Heat lost every quarter of the game except for the third quarter when they outscored the Celtics 46-25. Tonight is game 2 between the Nuggets and the Lakers. The Nuggets lead the Lakers 1-0 and will look to make it 2-0 when they go to Los Angeles this weekend. Sasha Vezenkov of Olympiacos.
You got this.
I got it. Maybe soon to be Sacramento King has been named the 2022-23 EuroLeague MVP. Vezenkov averaged 17.2 points per game to go along with 6.8 rebounds and 1.8 assists. For more on the EuroLeague MVP, check out Sactown Sports Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's article on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Chris and Co. with Kayte and Kyle.
Here we go. It's the scenario. Kyle and Kayte here with you on Sactown Sports 1140. 1 o'clock, top of the hour. One more hour left in the show.
It's already been 3 hours.
I know, right? You know, when I walked in, I was like, man, this is like going to a dentist, hanging with Kayte for 4 hours. What am I going to do here? This is it's going to be painful, but
wow.
It's flown by. I appreciate it. Good stuff.
Wow. Jeez. Jeez. Okay. So I can say it's safe to assume you haven't missed me since the season.
Exactly. Have not missed you at all. No, I'm joking. Of course I missed you. I was at the arena last night, actually. Yesterday, They had an event there, a math hoops event at Golden One Center. It was the first time I was back since Game 7. And I got a little emotional, a little teared up. You know, I was like, I miss my people. I miss the fans. I miss the crowd.
That's the weirdest part. You go through several months of where you do everything together. We travel together. We see each other all the time. We're all up in each other's lives and business. We know what's going on with the kids and the family and all the stuff. And then all of a sudden it's just gone.
It's gone.
It's like, Well, that's weird.
See you in 4 months or 5 months or whatever it is.
It's kind of isolating.
It really is. It really is. I miss it. We definitely got to do lunch one of these days. But I wanted to get something off my chest, Katie, here. And you guys can weigh in on this. 916-339-1140. Ja Morant, this Ja Morant situation, I've been sitting back. I've been watching. I've been listening to all the hot takes, and the league needs to come down on him hard, a heavy suspension. And it got me thinking, was Ja Morant's, I guess, misstep, crime, if you will, that he had a gun, or that it was publicized, that it was put out on social media during an IG Live? Because I maintain Ja Morant is not getting punished for having a gun. He's getting punished because it was captured live and it was out and about. I could argue that Ja Morant is not the only player in the NBA who has a gun. And so I understood the thing in Denver when he was up in the club with it. I mean, that's just reckless. But if he's behind closed doors.
So you don't think it's reckless driving around in a car with a weapon?
I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
I think it's dumb. But all these people saying, a year suspension, heavy suspension. I probably think 20 games is fine. I think it's dumb. I think it's stupid. But I'm not doing a half a year, a half a season.
See, the crazy thing to me is, what is the precedent for this? That's why, I'm sitting here going like, okay, so you're suspended from team activities. It's off season. What team activity?
Right. What are you doing now? Right?
So you got to work out alone.
No charity
with all
functions
with all your people. You're not. And by the way, Ja Morant's not doing team events during the summer. Let's be clear about that. Like, he's not going to events, like representing the team. It's not like that. So the interesting thing to me is just, this is one of the most difficult topics, I think, to discuss in our business, because if I'm being brutally honest, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to give your opinion, because there's going to be all kinds of people that say that you don't deserve to have an opinion, or you're an idiot, or whatever. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's clear that after, I thought Jalen Rose, when it happened in the club, the incident in Denver, he verbalized and vocalized so well the whole issue. I thought what he said was so spot on. And then he met with him after that happened. And Ja Morant went to, and I'm so confused on what is a treatment program for this in Florida.
For that, right.
And I was kind of shocked that it was in Florida, because just looking at the political environment, I'm like, well, pretty sure they want their guns there, And I'll preface this and say, I grew up on a cattle ranch. We've got so many guns that, by the way, are like grandfathered in. They're like from my great grandfather. You know what I mean? Like, but they're all like shotguns, pistol, like 22 pistols. It looks like, one of the old Western movies where you pull it out. It's not the same type of thing. So I'm not saying take people's guns. I'm saying the problem in this situation is the lack of awareness after something like this already happened. It damaged your team. You were suspended. You were away from the team. You lost games at a critical point in the season when you're already down Steven Adams, someone that's also very important to this ball club. And then this happens again. And it's like, why do you need a gun driving around in your car? I don't get it. Now, do you have a license to carry? Do you have the proper stuff? Like, if you have all that stuff, fine, but you also still are not learning. And then I can't imagine what would happen if Adam Silver were still the commissioner.
Oh, you mean
David Stern versus Adam Silver.
Oh, he would come down.
So then I also look at like whatever the suspension or whatever the punishment is going to be. I can assume, based on the past, that David Stern's discipline would have been far more severe, if you will.
Let me ask you, though, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. What was the actual violation Ja Morant did?
Whether or not it's fair.
It's not possession of a firearm,
no,
right? It's not that.
Whether or not this is fair.
Okay.
The NBA is a business and it's a brand, and you represent the NBA and this business and brand, and you represent your own brand.
Right.
And you're messing with a global brand. That's the reality of the situation.
But if this is never
and the team, the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies, all of that. So if you already got in trouble for having a weapon on IG Live in a club on the road where it enters in all these questions, how did he get that gun to Denver from Memphis?
Right.
Okay.
Was it on the team plane?
If you want to go into all of this narrative, all this stuff, fine. What was his crime? Not learning.
But if this is about the brand, is he being punished that it was on IG Live and it embarrassed the brand, or is he going to be punished for having a gun in a car?
Both situations are the same, right? Both situations are the same. Both of them came on an IG Live. You can tell the reaction of his friend, who was actually the one filming it. As soon as he saw it, he put it down. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So they're aware that it's not okay. At least some of the people around him are.
I'm just trying to get some clarity on what Ja is being suspended for.
I don't even know what
it's not for carrying a gun, is it? Or is it for carrying a gun and waving it on IG Live?
Let me ask you this question. You work for the Sacramento Kings.
Yes.
So if the Sacramento Kings came to you and said, we do not like that you did XYZ on social media, you represent this team, this business, we are going to suspend you. There's going to be a discipline for you. And if you come back a couple months later and do the exact same thing, Kyle,
I get it, Katie.
Fired.
I get it. But the problem is it was publicized. That's why, Sacramento or whoever would fire me is because it was on an IG Live. Not because I actually carried a gun. But the reason why they do it
is because you represent them as a company, as an entity.
I get that.
You represent their brand. So it's no different.
A private company, they could do that. They could do that.
We're already, John Moran is already getting a little bit of a pass. They're not trading him or getting rid of him. They're going to suspend him.
They're going to suspend him. I get that.
So they're already being treated differently than the majority of the population that would just get fired.
Let me get a word, Katie. Let me get a word, Katie. Because here's the problem. I understand the NBA is a business. They can suspend them. I'm all for that. My problem is those on the outside of the NBA, the talking heads, the writers who are making this into a gun issue and not necessarily a judgment issue.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He's being suspended for his judgment. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's being suspended because he has a gun. And I think that there's two different things. He used poor judgment. Yeah. Yes. And I'm all for the suspension. The NBA should suspend him. But some people are twisting this into a gun issue, which I don't think it is.
Don't you think that that's just so indicative of the political environment that we are in as a country? I mean, it's
right.
I'm not going to lie and say that, like, I open my Twitter account and it's depressing.
Right. Yeah,
like,
it is.
Everything about it. And so I agree with you in the sense that he made a bad decision. His punishment is going to be for making the bad decision. And
it's stupid to be flashing guns, riding around in a car, acting like, I mean, come on, dude, you're not that guy. Honestly, nobody should be that guy. Yeah. I don't condone that, and we see it too many times, in neighborhoods and things like that. The guns are readily available. I get that. But in this instance, I think he's being punished because of the brand, the look, the IG. Yeah. And not necessarily because he had a gun in a car with his boys.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm trying to think of an equivalent of, I mean, I guess, well, listen, like Kyrie Irving has gotten in trouble because of stuff that he put out on social media that was not gun related. It was anti-Semitic. Like there's been punishment for things that have gone out on social media that hurt the brand.
That hurt the brand.
That is insensitive. That is, you can go down the list. So I don't think this is about a gun. It is about the
It's
image.
about the brand, the image.
It is.
Right. Okay.
I don't think
and
that's
that's
the
all
argument.
I was saying. Yeah.
I don't think that's the argument. But because it's a gun, it is also going to get twisted into kind of the political aspect of the environment that we live in today.
All right. I want you guys to weigh in. 916-339-1140. You're on with Kyle and Katie here. Sactown Sports 1140. Much more NBA talk coming up after this timeout.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with zero down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at folsomlakeford.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
Keeping you company with the company. It's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Drapes and Katie Christensen here with you on Sactown Sports 1140. Chris and Co. sitting in for Chris Watkins. Chris will be back tomorrow. Coming up at the top of the hour, it is Cattles and Rami. They'll be talking NBA, I'm sure. Plenty of that. Back here with Katie. And Katie, we started the day talking about the Sacramento Kings. And one of our poll questions out there, how would you describe the Kings season? Overwhelmingly successful. That's what you said.
I said wildly successful.
Wildly successful.
Not overwhelming is a different adjective.
Wildly successful. Yeah. Oh man, I tried to click and vote.
I put it on the poll as that.
As overwhelmingly
successful.
And I said should have done more in playoffs. Like I wanted more from this team. I
wanted more.
Yeah.
I still don't think it means it wasn't a wildly successful season when you
Katie, you wanted more. Kyle said we should have
had more. Yeah. Exactly. But now,
gosh, Chris in there keeping receipts. He's
been
so quiet.
He got the tapes
the whole show. And now he's like, let me just see. Let's go back into the transcripts. Yep, Katie, this is actually what you said.
He pulling the receipts, pulling the card right there. But Monty McNair now, he has a busy offseason ahead, some decisions to make, obviously, with Harrison Barnes, Terrence Davis, Trey Lyles, among others. Meanwhile, we were talking about needs for this Sacramento Kings squad. And one thing we talked about is a rim protector, but you also mentioned perimeter defense.
Yeah.
You got anybody out there, any names that fit the bill regarding that?
It's interesting, right, when you think about it, because it's not an easy process. We were talking earlier about Jeremy Grant. Obviously, we spoke with Austin White, the beat reporter for the Portland Tribune earlier, because Jeremy Grant is an unrestricted free agent. He spent last year, had a very successful season in Portland. He's a defender, right? Mm-hmm. His defensive numbers were horrendous last year, but that has a lot to do with Portland as a team. So he is someone that it's like, if you could get your hands on him type situation. But to me, there's no one off the top of my head, right, that I'm like, a difference maker. The intriguing thing, because we were just talking about the Grizzlies and John Morant, is Dylan Brooks, right?
Yeah.
He's a tough-minded defensive player, but there's also a reason why someone that they drafted, that they developed in Memphis, that they're saying, we're not re-signing you.
Yeah.
There's a problem there.
There's a problem there, right?
There's a problem there. And so it's crazy to me because in the past, the Kings have been the team that has kind of like, okay, we don't got a lot of options.
Right. Yeah.
Like we might take a chance on a player, and DeMarcus Cousins kind of comes to view, right? Like a very similar personality to Dylan Brooks, and boisterous and you know, technical foul prone and all these things. And like you either love him or you hate him, or you love to hate him or you hate to love him, and like all of those things, right? And I think Dylan Brooks kind of falls into that category. And it's such a difference than Harrison Barnes, who is just the most professional like he got a technical this year and everybody was shocked.
Right.
So do you have any free agents that are on your list?
I do.
Start getting the
let me pull it out right now. Let me pull it out right now.
I think
I said Jeremy Grant is a guy I would love, you know, and Austin said he's better defender than what the numbers indicated. So Jeremy Grant would probably be at the top of my list. I'm a huge Thomas Bryant guy. Thomas Bryant fan.
Yep.
And I don't think it'll cost you much as well. A nice backup big, a guy that, you know, on occasion could shoot. We saw him
Where
play.
is he now? Was he
Denver? Remember, he was part of
because he was with the Lakers. And
then
okay.
And now he's not even getting any time at all.
Yeah.
No tick
at
all.
That's the difficult part, because Jokic is going to play most of those minutes, right? And that's the same situation as here with Domantas Sabonis. So, yeah, it's difficult. Go ahead.
And then that might be it.
Really?
Yeah, my list is short.
So here's the reality, and this is, we're also putting it, we're kind of limiting it by saying what free agents are available.
Right.
But that's not the only option.
That's not the only option.
It's not the only option, especially when you consider you've got Harrison Barnes, who is a free agent right now. And say you decide to move on and go in a different direction from Harrison, it doesn't mean you let him go. You also can work out a sign and trade situation. Yeah. So there's a plethora of possibilities. And, you know, I don't think if the Kings did decide to move on from Harrison, I think Harrison is the type of player that would work with them so that they don't get nothing.
They don't get anything. Yeah.
You know?
But if I'm HB at this stage of your career, you're not going to a rebuilding situation.
No.
You're going to, you know, a title contender.
Right.
And you wonder what kind of assets would they have?
Yeah.
You know, that could, they send you back. You know, I would imagine there's some late picks, maybe some second round. Like, I don't know how much you can get for Harrison Barnes.
What about an actual player?
Yeah. What about an actual
player? You know, because sometimes it's not about like a player not being good, right? It's about maybe that player doesn't just fill a specific need that you need on your team right now. This player does, and I'm going to do the swap because it benefits us both, type thing. So it's hard to tell, but I think maybe the biggest question, and what about, you know, the Draymond Green situation as well?
Yeah.
You know, that's a big question mark, and there's been no movement from everything we're reading in terms of
Bob Myers
and coming to a deal with him in the front office, which is that baffling to you?
It is baffling. And I'm not sure, you know, whose side it's on. Is it Bob tired of the situation, you know, tired of Joe Lacob? I have no idea, but you would think the Warriors have been a great organization during this run, you know, an extremely well run from top to bottom. You're competing for championships every single year. So why is Bob reportedly looking to leave? Maybe it's a new challenge or something like that he's looking for. I don't know, but this could be the end of the Warriors dynasty. And Bob Myers was a big part of that.
Oh, of course. And then apparently Draymond Green is like, he wants to know what's going on with Bob Myers before he makes his decision as well. And so this is to me really intriguing in the sense that, and I know everyone's going to talk about the end of the dynasty,
Yep.
like, you know, it's not going to last forever, at least with this group. All right. And that's just reality. So the big question to me is guys like Draymond Green, Dylan Brooks, like what is their kind of value in the market?
I've always maintained when it comes to Draymond, and maybe I'm wrong on this, his best fit is in Golden State. If you put unfortunately, the Kings run sort of a similar kind of offense, but if you put him in a more traditional offense where he's not as much of a facilitator, you don't run as much through him, is he as good of a player? And so I think he needs to go.
He's not surrounded with multiple shooters.
Right.
And someone like Looney, who is the most unsung hero of that. And nothing works with them without Kevon Looney. Nothing at all. He cleans up so much for them.
Yes, I agree.
Whether it's extra possessions, closing out defensive possessions, what he does is critical. I think, the Warriors fans just don't at me, okay? I think he's more critical to their success than Draymond Green is.
Really?
Yes. I think that's how important he is. Because when you look at the construction of that team, you've got Steph, Clay, and Draymond, right? And then who's the other,
You start, whether it's Jordan Poole,
it was
you go
DiVincenzo,
with Gary
Jordan
Payton,
Poole, Gary Payton, that other spot has kind of
Wiggins.
been Wiggins. God, I'm forgetting about
Wiggins.
Wiggins, but there's been a rotation, right? Yeah. Even with Draymond, there's been a rotation of starting a small in his place. But to me, you don't have a lot of guys now. You talked earlier about Steph Curry is kind of one of those guys that you kind of hide on defense. Klay Thompson is not the defensive player that he used to be. And I think that Kevon Looney really covers up so much for them, really does the dirty work that the others are not capable of doing at that level collectively.
No, I agree. I agree with that. But regarding Draymond, there are only a handful of teams he could go to.
Yeah.
And, I think he would fit in well offensively, defensively with the Sacramento Kings. I think because he's a communicator, and I understand, he's done some things, but on the basketball court, he's like the quarterback out there of that offense and defense. Draymond Green is.
And I think this, for those of you on the YouTube chat, and I don't know if we're frozen or not, if it's actually working right now, when you said that he would fit really well with the Sacramento Kings, my eyeballs touched my spinal cord. They touched my spinal cord. You don't want that problem? You don't want those issues? This kind of leads into what we're going to get into next after this next break.
Yeah, I'm talking from a strictly basketball standpoint. Take all the other stuff out of it. Draymond Green could help this team. Another guy I was looking at.
There's a group of guys that I have 5.
Right. Katie's 5 players she does not like watching. Is that accurately? Yep. We're going to get to that coming up in just a minute. But I was looking at a guy like Cam Reddish, but restricted free agent. Yeah. How about Grant Williams in Boston? He's not getting any minutes at all. Not getting any time. Nope. Restricted free agent, but I think a good defender, a guy that can knock down the corner 3, a guy who, I think still has some upside, a little undersized, but he's strong. And so that might be a guy as well.
I kind of feel like, who I think would be perfect?
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen? Rui Hachimura.
Yes.
I love his game.
Yes.
I love his game. Love his game.
Tell me one more time.
And I love it. But again, probably not gonna happen.
Right.
But it has to be something like that. And I don't think that if Harrison Barnes is gone, I don't think you can give up size. I think you need size that position. Yeah, absolutely.
And you need some strength, some toughness, some defense as well, because Harrison Barnes was one of your best on-ball defenders.
By the way,
as well.
Got to be a 3-point shooter.
Got to get to that.
I mean, Harrison did so much for this team. I mean,
yeah. All right, we got much more coming up. Coming up next, Katie's 5 players she just does not like to watch. They come on the TV.
You got to get in on the remote.
Too. All right, I got a couple for you.
You ain't throwing me under the bus like this.
We want to hear your 5 players, your players you just can't stand watching. 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140. It's Kyle and Katie here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Are you ready to hear this on Sactown Sports?
Handoff McCaffrey. Touchdown! San Francisco!
Or how about this?
Feel super, baby! The 5-time Super Bowl champions, and they're looking for number 6.
Catch every Niners game during the 2023 season
On your home for the 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
Memorial Day is coming, and Elk Grove Kia has deals you'll never forget, like the hottest all-electric EV on the market, the luxurious EV6. Save big with lease specials of $10,000 below MSRP. Not just one or two, but every EV6 in stock. EV's not your thing? How about the sporty 2023 Soul GT line that you can lease for just $99 per month? Come look at all our exciting specials at Elk Grove Kia. Don't worry about credit. No credit, bad credit, charge-offs, repos. Don't worry. Our team has over 100 years of experience. Others say no. Elk Grove Kia says yes.
$7,500 Kia lease cash plus $2,500 dealer discount equals $10,000 total savings for EV6 all in stock Kia finance credit approval required. Not all will qualify. 99 plus tax, 24 month lease, $10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, 0 security deposit required, $52.50 customer cash required, and signing residual of $17.70 to $195 subject to Kia finance through one approval. One of this payment GK 87812-10533 offer expires 5/31/23.
Turn your highway into a smile way. Elk Grove Kia.
Listen to Oakland A's baseball on the weekends all season long right here on Sactown Sports, beginning with the pregame show brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Nothing tastes better than a craft beer on a beautiful afternoon. Sunrise Marketplace is transforming the Sunrise Mall parking lot into a backyard hangout on May 20th. There will be craft breweries, home brewers, cideries, meaderies, food trucks, and backyard games. This will be one of the best events happening this year. Tickets are on sale now at shopsmp.com. Use discount code HBREW23 for $5 off general admission. Every ticket helps support Citrus Heights Heart and Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce.
My father was a career United States Air Force pilot, and Memorial Day is a reminder of all he and so many others did for our country. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Right now at the annual Memorial Day sale, everything in the store is on sale. Everything from living rooms to sofas to sectionals to dining rooms to home offices and so much more. And while you're there at Naturewood Home Furnishings, don't miss the parking lot clearance featuring drastically reduced closeouts, floor samples, and discontinued items now up to 50% off and more. Right now at the Naturewood Memorial Day sale, you can save in the store and in the parking lot. Whether you're looking to lighten the mood in your living room, brighten up your bedroom, or tighten up your home office, it's all available for you at Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
At Hoblet Dodge Jeep Ram, we pride ourselves on honesty, integrity, and getting you a fair deal. Like the bigger dealerships, we sell great Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles, but that's where the similarities end. It's how we do business at Hoblet that's the difference. Our handshake is our signature here. If we tell you the truck will cost this much, that's what it'll cost when you get here. If we tell you we're going to sell it to you for a certain price, that's the price we're going to sell it to you for. Our customers come back to us because that's how we do business. If you're in the market for a great new Dodge, Jeep, or Ram, come and see us. We're Hoblet Dodge in beautiful Woodland, California. We're a short 20-minute drive from Sacramento. Come out and meet our great staff. We promise we'll treat you with respect and keep our word when you do business with us. We're Hoblet Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. You'll find us on Main Street in Woodland, California, USA. Thanks for dropping by. Again, if you want a dealership that prides themselves in honesty, integrity, and getting you a fair deal, you'll find it at Hoblet Dodge Jeep Ram.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Rolado with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Miami Heat took home court advantage away from the Celtics last night with a 123-116 win in Boston. The Heat lost every quarter of the game except for the third quarter when they outscored the Celtics 46-25. Tonight is game 2 between the Nuggets and Lakers. The Nuggets lead the Lakers 1-0 and will look to make it 2-0 when they go to Los Angeles this weekend. Sasha Vezenkov of Olympiacos may be soon to be Sacramento King has been named the 2022-23 EuroLeague MVP. Veznikov averaged 17.2 points per game to go along with 6.8 rebounds and 1.8 assists. For more on the EuroLeague MVP, check out Sactown Sports Kings insider Frankie Cardacelli's article on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Chris and Company with Kyle and Katie.
Sitting at your desk, watch Chris and Company now. YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Final half hour here with Kyle and Katie, Sactown Sports 1140, 916-339-1140. We've been talking NBA all throughout the day, Sacramento Kings, some of the needs, as well as free agent targets. And it got us thinking, Katie, and this is a segment you came up with. Who are the NBA players you just don't like to watch play? You know, just guys you watch and you're like, oh my, this isn't good basketball. Or I just don't like watching this dude play. You want to pick up the remote, flip the channel, watch something else. You got your list of 5. I could only come up with 2 guys that, you know, just gets under my skin.
Really?
Yeah.
And yours are actually
superstars.
I'm like, what? Like, I think some people are going to understand where I'm going. Now, I'm going to piss off some people too.
All right. What you got?
You know, listen, we all know sports is so much a preference, right? Like, we all like different things and whatnot. So it's just, for whatever reason, I have the hardest time watching these 5 players. I'm going to start off with the easiest one because I'm not going to get bashed for this.
Okay.
I know every Kings fan is going to be like, hell yeah. Draymond Green is tough for me.
Really?
Yeah. Draymond Green is tough for me. So listen, almost every single player on here, it's not because of their skill level.
That's what, okay.
They're incredibly skilled. I cannot stand the antics. For me, that's what makes everyone on this list painful to watch. Has nothing to do with how good they are.
Okay.
So Draymond Green, without a doubt.
I can understand that.
We also talked earlier about Dylan Brooks.
Yes.
I can't stand it.
What's wrong with Dylan Brooks?
It's the arrogance, the talking, the jawing. Like I don't like to watch players that argue and get combative about every freaking thing that happens. There's a reason the technical fouls pile up, especially those 2. They're that way, right?
Here's my thing about Dylan Brooks. I think he could help the Sacramento Kings. If Mike Brown can harness some of that other stuff you just mentioned, but from a competitive toughness, a little swagger, he's a really, really good defender, Katie.
Listen, every single one of these players on this list are great players. I really believe that. It's the other stuff that makes it difficult. And I'm curious, you know, this is something you guys can at me and at both Kyle and I. Give us your list. Like, we didn't prepare for this. We've been winging this whole thing. So this is actually a good engagement thing on social media, and our show is almost over. The other one is James Harden. Oh, my God.
When he hits those dagger threes, Katie?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I think for him,
step back?
For him, it's not the antics. He's the only one on this list. It's not the antics. I feel like he kills the game. I feel like he kills the game more than he helps it. It's painful for me to watch. Really painful. The other one is Luka.
You're talking about an MVP candidate.
Listen.
You're talking about one of the game's best players.
Dude, are you telling me that the incessant moaning and complaining about every damn thing?
But that's a lot of NBA players, Katie.
He takes it up a notch.
Okay.
Thank you. And I know there was this whole thing about Marvin Bagley and taking him over Luka and all this stuff.
Is that part of the reason?
No, in hindsight, I'm like, thank God.
What?
I'm not from a selfish perspective. It's just and I'm not going to apologize for that. It's hard for me to watch. It's painful. To me, it takes the joy out of the game to see the complaining. And the last one, I'm going to get crucified for.
Yeah, I'm sure you. All right, I'm about to come at you. What you got?
LeBron.
What? You're talking about the number 2 greatest player of all time. You're talking about a guy that shares with his teammates, that can score on multiple levels. You're talking about LeBron James.
Everything he does is amazing. He is one of the greatest to ever play this game. I am constantly in awe from a physical perspective of what he's doing, what he's done, and what he is capable of. It's the things like the complaining to the officials. It's the things like this theatrical fall to the floor, and the replay shows there was no contact to your face at all, and you just act like you got mauled. Like, those are the things to me. God,
but that's the NBA. That's the NBA.
No, it doesn't have to.
Tatum
be.
does
like,
that all the time.
It's like men's soccer. I'd rather watch women's soccer. It's the same damn thing.
Easy. I know. Verla got his jersey on, his kid on over there, so you better watch out.
Yeah, I'm opening myself up to all kinds of criticism. I want to know who yours are.
I only have two. I could throw Harden in there. I could see that, obviously. I'm looking at some of the other people's list out there. Some people are weighing in.
Oh, okay, good.
Draymond, Luka, Dylan Brooks, Harden. Somebody said Tristan Thompson.
Oh, really?
Somebody said as well. Just too much yapping for a guy that doesn't play.
Huh.
Somebody said John Morant, maybe.
Oh, wow.
And anybody on the New York Knicks. Somebody said. But here's mine. I'm going to go with two future Hall of Famers. I'm going to go with two MVPs. Steph Curry is my first one. You know why? Because every time Steph Curry takes a three-point shot, he's kicking out his legs. He's begging for the foul. He's flopping on the drives to the basket. Steph Curry irritates me. He's a great player, phenomenal, hits daggers, deep shots, great, one of the all-time greats. But the flopping, the begging, every single shot, he is begging for a call, Katie. Why are you giving me...
No, I'm gonna be here as an emotional support for you.
Which I think Kings fans would agree with me.
Listen,
after watching 7 games of that,
I'm not gonna disagree with you. It certainly happens. That is one of my biggest pet peeves in the league. Period.
Yes,
is the 3-point shooting and how players, and they've tried to clean it up.
Yep.
But this just shows you that it's kind of like rats are constantly adjusting to the poison.
Right. You change the rules and you
they
adjust.
Figure out a way
exactly.
to still get in your house.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, here's my other one. And this is from this guy should not be this good kind of angle. Like Nikola Jokic, like he's not that athletic. He doesn't.
Wow, you're going to have the brothers coming after you.
Yeah, I know. He's not jumping over anybody. But then you look and he's got 35, 19, and 12. He's not fast. He's just out there.
Chris, I'm going to need you to call witness protection. I don't think Kyle's going to be safe leaving the building.
He's a little doughy a little bit too. He's a little doughy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's freaking effective.
An anomaly.
It's like, exactly. Yeah. And so I don't necessarily hate him. It's just like, how can he be that good? He's that guy that you play against where he walks on the floor and you're like, oh, I got this. I got him. I'm about to lock him up. I got him. And then he drops 20 and 10 on you. And you're looking at it and you're like, how did this happen?
You know what's kind of interesting? Going back and watching a bunch of film of Arvydas Sabonis after DeMontis came here, because listen, I'm not gonna lie. I started watching the NBA when I started playing in the WNBA. Like, I just didn't grow up watching sports like that, and so a lot of the stuff, like these older players, I got to go back and like actually watch, because I'm like, I don't know, and I'm okay to admit that. Arvydas Sabonis is a phenomenal player, like Hall of Famer, like all of those things. And I'm watching, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of what you're saying about Jokic. I'm like, he was so cumbersome. Like, kind of didn't move well. Kind of stoved up, unathletic. And I'm like, wow, Domantas Sabonis is, as an athlete, far superior to his dad, just in his mobility. And listen, so much has changed in the world of sports science and what we can do with bodies and treatment. Like, maybe the footage I was watching of Arvydas was like after he'd played 50 years in the league and like had arthritis and all the things. But I'm like, he was so effective, crazy effective.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, he would barely move.
And you look at a guy like that and you're like I said, he walks on the court and you think you can lock him up. You think like this guy, this guy, he's the last guy picked, but then he comes out there and gives you some work, and so
that's kind of how what's his name was thinking about you in that game in Boston, right?
Oh,
Scal. Yeah.
That's some of the all-time greats. Hey, I did hit a step back jumper against Scal. That's my claim to fame. Exactly. All right, we're going to put a bow on this show. Coming up, we got our guy Rami, I do believe, is going to be joining us here as we set you up for Cattles and Rami coming up at the top of the hour. You've been listening to Kyle and Kayte here on Sactown Sports 1140.
It's Cattles and Rami.
I use vitamin D pills at home. You're trying to bait me into something here. I've been in enough trouble lately, man. I'm going to Vegas tomorrow. You might stay in Vegas if you go too far.
Not taking the bait. That's bait right there. That's what that is.
It is. I admit it. All right. But I do take vitamin D, Bill. I do. It's a little nature. Well, I'll show you.
Go 19 minutes without getting in trouble,
These
man.
Bad boys.
Cattles and Rami, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Sactown Sports.
Quick Quack Car Wash is excited to announce Ceramic Duck, the stronger, shinier, luckier car wash experience that can only be found at Quick Quack. Their new Ceramic Duck car wash provides unparalleled protection from dirt, grime, rain, and UV rays while giving your car a noticeably deeper shine and smoother finish. With consistent use, you'll build a shine that will have you looking spectacular for days. Try the premium wash at 50% off by texting DUCK to 41284. So come on, experience Ceramic Duck today. You and your car will be glad you did.
Dazzling decal on Daisy's Donuts window. Bold banner at Barry's Barbershop. Prominent poster at Penny's on Park Place.
This is your sign. Well, signs. To try Staples and see the difference. Get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more.
From Staples, and I couldn't miss it.
End 6/17. Visit staplesconnect.com/printbig for details.
Guys, fellas, men, do you want a better sex life? Roman has genuine medication that helps you achieve and maintain what you need to perform. Roman has discreet wipes that help you last 4 times longer in bed. Roman has testosterone testing and treatment. Treating low testosterone can help revive your sex drive. So men, what are you waiting for? For a better sex life, go to ro.co/bettersex. Do it today and get 20% off. That's ro.co/bettersex.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Many driving ranges have turned to hitting mats, with many of them using mats year-round. But according to Golf Top 100 teacher Martin Chuck, hitting off mats can give you a false sense of security, giving you the impression that you're a decent ball striker. There are a couple of ways to make sure you get the most out of your practice, and he shares them in Golf Magazine. First, approach the ball with purpose. Treat every shot like you would on the course. Stand behind the ball and visualize what you want the ball to do. Then walk in and go through the same routine you use during a round on the golf course. Second, try the towel drill. To make certain you aren't skipping the club head into the ball, place the towel a few inches behind the ball and try not to hit the towel on the downswing. This will help promote ball-first contact. If you disturb the towel, then you know you're hitting the ground too early. Ball-first contact is imperative. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Kevin Lewis of National Garage Door. Whether you need to repair a broken spring, install the new opener, or buy a quality Rainer door, National Garage Door is here for you. Call us today to see how we can transform your house with a new garage door.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Live
and local, it's Chris and Company with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Drapes and Kayte wrapping it up here on Sactown Sports, 11:40, about to make way for Cattles and Rami. Nick's out today,
yeah,
though, right? You got
out
Jay,
today
right?
and tomorrow. But
And tomorrow,
Jay is sliding in the co-host chair.
What you guys got coming up,
That's
man?
always fun. We'll do some Kings talk. We're coming out of the gates with some football talk.
Ooh, what you got?
Well, this Sam Darnold stuff keeps picking up steam. And the latest is Louis Riddick. And Louis Riddick is saying, sources, this isn't just him going, I could see. Louis Riddick is saying sources are telling him that Sam Darnold could be like the surprise out of nowhere starting quarterback.
Really?
Yeah, so we're going to get into that. Obviously, we'll talk about the Western Conference Finals coming up tonight, Eastern Conference Finals. A couple of guests on the show. Eric Edholm from NFL.com will join us at 2:30. And Jabari Davis, former King. He'll stop by at 4:30.
Is he coming in?
No, he'll be either on the phone or on the
You
YouTube.
gonna
I'm not
YouTube
sure.
it?
Yeah, we're not sure.
Little
I'm not
YouTube
sure.
action. So
they just tell me things as the show goes.
Exactly. No, that's how kind of how we were today. We were just winging it out there for 4 hours, just hanging out. We were just talking about our most hated NBA players, like most hated players to watch. Guys, you just
like
don't
entertain,
watch. Yeah,
like it's painful to watch.
I know this is an easy and probably popular answer, but I mean, it's effective. He's one of the greatest scorers of all time. He'll go into the Hall of Fame. I don't like watching James Harden play basketball.
He was on my list. Yeah.
Like so much of it is just they're not basketball moves. You're just going up and looking for a foul. You have no intention of scoring. You have zero intention of trying to score.
Don't you agree that he in particular is one of the reasons why it kind of drove the rule change in terms of how you get fouls from that type of thing? I think that.
Right.
They kind of eased up on that. Remember when they were giving fines for flopping and things like that? And they've backed off all of that. I don't understand why.
The carry that they were calling consistently at the beginning of the season.
Yep. I said Steph Curry.
Really?
Because you talk about flopping. Every 3-pointer he takes,
he does
his legs
up on his butt.
Yeah, it's
he ends up on his butt
he's like looking for the contact every single shot. And after watching it for 7 games, I was like, you know what? I need a break. I need a break from watching Steph. As great as he is, I need a break from watching Steph.
The circus show of just that he can launch it from anywhere. He crosses half court and he's a threat. You know what I mean? That part of it is to me undeniably entertaining. That you don't know when that ball is going to fly out and it could land in the hoop. You know what I mean? From anywhere, anytime.
I know what he's saying about the as a 3-point shooter. That is probably my biggest pet peeve in the league across the board. The kick out, the on the verge of learning how to do it without getting caught type thing. And it's really difficult for the officials to also in live action be able to differentiate.
Absolutely.
But
it's happening in real time.
Yes.
We see the replay and we're like, oh, how'd you call that?
And we see the replay from 5 different angles. They see it live action from one angle, probably through 2 bodies. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah. No, I always say
So James is your only one.
Who else? I'm trying to think right now. You guys.
Kayte had 20.
I said 5.
Narrowed it down to
give me a couple of yours.
My 5 was Draymond, Dylan Brooks.
Draymond is annoying. Dylan Brooks is unbearable.
Luka.
Really?
James Harden.
Is it
LeBron?
Is really?
Yeah. For me, it's not about. It's about the antics.
But everybody does that, Kayte.
Yes. Everybody does it. That's not true.
Most of the big name stars.
A lot of the big name stars do it.
Everybody's begging
to me
that.
And I feel like I have to defend it, and I did earlier, but I can say LeBron James is ridiculous. One of the best players to ever play the game. Ever. He's a freak of nature.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the need to flop to the extent where it's you just got decapitated. And then the replay shows there wasn't any contact to your head at all. I'm like, why?
I'm a LeBron guy. I'm a LeBron guy.
It
so I'm gonna cut him some
diminishes
slack.
your greatness. to do crap like that.
There is a lot of that. I can't even deny that, Katie. There is a lot of that, but his greatness for me overrides it, and I can put him on that list.
From a basketball standpoint,
and
he's a mastermind.
I'll say this: Luka's borderline for me. All the whining with the refs. He and you're right, Kyle. A lot of superstars do that. He's a little bit excessive with it. You know who I just thought? Rudy Gobert. He does nothing for me.
You know, he does absolutely. No, but it's weird. It's weird too because you cannot like it, but you can appreciate their game.
Right.
And it's everybody has a different kind of player that they gravitate towards, and like. I love watching Keegan, and he's so emotionless.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And some fans want the boisterous, out in your face, the fist pumping, and I appreciate the guy that's like, all right, just hit that.
And just had it back.
Gonna go back on the other end.
Hold on.
There's not all the.
See, Katie. Oh my gosh, Katie. What is this? 1950?
I know.
What the heck?
But listen,
what are you doing?
You can hate me for it. I like that's what I gravitate towards. But as a player, that's who I was. I was so focused. I couldn't even bother myself with celebrating.
No, I get that.
So if a football player scores a touchdown, just hand the ball to the ref.
So football's different, right? Because it's not constant action. There's stoppage after every play. Basketball, to me, you celebrate, but you should also be running back on defense. You should be communicating. You should be, one of the things, and to get to this series, one of the things the Lakers were horrendous at was transition defense in the first half. I'm like, okay, there's things that you constantly need to be focusing on in basketball. So I'm not a big one with the, and the.
No, what about the Steph Curry night?
Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of it.
And people act like you have to be either a fan of the vanilla guy or the Keegan Murray type, or a fan of the Steph Curry. And I like it all. You know what I mean? I like that.
You can appreciate
if everybody was the same. I don't know. I don't know that I like walking in the ice cream shop and there's 31 flavors. You know what I mean?
I'm only ordering vanilla though.
Exactly. But I might like a few of them. I might get three different scoops. You know what I mean? So I like the variety. And I don't want everybody
to. Life.
I don't want everybody to act the same. I like it.
Yeah,
I appreciate them both.
We got to get out of here. Kyle and Katie, you got Rami and Jay.
Yes, sir.
Coming up next. Sam Darnold might be the opening day starter.
That's
the game one starter.
That's what we're hearing.
Unbelievable.
And more than that.
And more.
And more than that. Yes.
That's what we call a tease right there. Yes.
This one was fun.
This one was fun, Katie.
Yeah. Nice doing business with you, partner.
I'll see you in about another month or so. All right. That'll do it for Kyle and Katie here on Sactown Sports 1140. Up next, Rami and Jay with the latest on Sam Darnold and the 49ers. We'll see you tomorrow, guys.
The King season might be over, but Sactown sports coverage never stops.
Returning is honestly my number one priority. To be a part of something special.
Stay tuned all off season to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.